Chapter 281, Treasure of Dragon Palace City. Chapter 281, Treasure of Dragon Palace City. In the secret realm of Dragon Palace City. Green Sky Island. This was an island used by Dragon Palace City to specially entertain human guests. During the Dragon Palace banquet, Dong Huang's visitors would stay in the buildings here. For example, White Brook and the others were all here. Not long after Shi Yu returned from the Rainbow Islands, he was quickly sent here to rest. Moreover, the Immortal Dragon King, Dr. Shell, Dr. Coral, Dr. Water Lady, and the other wet nurses escorted him the whole time. There was no other way. Shi Yu was too weak. No. It was impossible to describe Shi Yu's current situation. Not long after Shi Yu finished asking for the life resources, among these sea beast healers, Dr. Shell, Dr. Coral, and Dr. Jellyfish, who could replenish life force. Condensed healing water to heal Shi Yu. However, Shi Yu's body was like a bottomless pit. Although he had efficiently absorbed the healing water, he still looked half dead. It was very scary. It stunned the three chiefs. After all, they were Overlord-level healers. As for Shi Yu, he was only a master-level beast tamer. They were even more shocked that Shi Yu would actually talk to them in such a serious situation. How strong was his physical fitness? It was a pity that the Immortal Dragon King only knew cleansing skills and didn't know how to replenish life skills. Otherwise, it wanted to test Shi Yu's limit. In fact, Shi Yu still acknowledged the healing water skill of the three Overlord healers. The effect of their skills was much stronger than that of the Ginseng baby. At least, the cooldown period for Shi Yu's super skills was almost reduced again. This was something Baby Ginseng's skill couldn't do at the moment. Shi Yu estimated that if Baby Ginseng wanted to surpass them, it had to at least reach the Monarch level and train its source of life skill to nearly perfect level. However, at this moment, although the cooldown time for teaching super skills had almost decreased, Shi Yu's condition was still a little poor. As the exhaustion this time was too serious, the protective mechanism of his body made it very difficult for him to instantly recover from this huge leap, since that would be dangerous. The closer to recovery, the worse the recovery skill effect. What Shi Yu needed now was the self-adjustment process of his body. After all, be it supplements or skills, or external forces, they couldn't perfectly transform into the life force Shi Yu needed. Although Shi Yu felt that he was alright. Since the Dragon Kings wanted him to rest, he decided to rest. Due to the Poison Dragon incident, the Dragon Palace banquet was postponed for 3 days. For the next 2 days, Shi Yu could rest however he wanted. The medical team of the entire Dragon Palace City waited on Shi Yu at all times and listened to Shi Yu's summon. Shi Yu had also sent several bottles of life-type resources from level 6 to level 8. Apart from that, there was also the Dragon Blood of the Body strengthening resource. It could be said that even the little white dragon did not receive such treatment compared to Shi Yu. In the independent residence of Green Sky Island, Shi Yu looked at the 1 drop of level 8 life water on the table, 10 drops of level 7 life water, 100 level 6 life water, and a bottle of level 7 dragon blood and fell into deep thought. He felt that with these life resources, he didn't have to worry about adding a few super skills. At this moment, Shi Yu really wanted to stay in Dragon Palace City to level up. After all, there were Overlord-level nannies here. It was much better than a Ginseng baby. But soon, he shook his head. The National League was still the most important. Number 5 had already joined the team, and Number 6, the mechanical pet, was still waiting for him. Moreover, Dong Huang was definitely not at ease to leave him in Dragon Palace City for a long time. Compared to Dragon Palace City, Dong Huang definitely wanted to invest in the growth of the Blue Sea Sprite more. If it was said that befriending Dragon Palace City only allowed the beast tamers of Dong Huang to travel freely in the sea area of the East Sea. If they could befriend the complete Blue Sea Sprite, it meant that the entire sea could be traveled without any obstacles. This was very important for the development of a country. Conquering the sea meant that it could freely carry out worldwide trade and make the country stronger. I feel that I'm already very strong now. At that moment, Shi Yu did not use these resources immediately. It was mainly because he felt that it was a waste to use them now that he had no use for them. He clenched his fist and felt the physical strength after recovering this time. He sighed. 11. Shiyu summoned 11 and said, "Bean bears." 11, woo woo woo? Was he going to hit them again? I'm just checking my current physical strength. Woo! A moment later, a commander-level Bean Bear was summoned by 11. The confused and cute Bean Bear used the hardening skill to equip its entire body. Then, a fist that swept the wind landed on it. Click! A moment later, the hardened armor on the bear collapsed. With a bang, the bear was sent flying by Shiyu. Its body distorted and it turned back into a metal bean. Woo woo woo! 11 had tears in its eyes and quickly picked up the poor Bean Bear. After all, it was metal that fell from its body. It was nothing when it sacrificed itself, but it hurt to give Shiyu a sandbag to test his strength. As for me now, my normal battle power should be equivalent to a relatively weak commander-level ferocious beast, right? Even if the other party uses a skill. Shiyu looked at his swollen fist and muttered to himself. Great! He set a small goal and strived to wreck the Bean Bear that used its full battle power as soon as possible. After all, the stronger his normal battle power was, the stronger the template of Sword God Shiyu after possessing Kai Tong. He would put aside how much attack power he could increase first. It was mainly to increase his resistance to attacks. Chapter 282, Treasure of Dragon Palace City, 1. Chapter 282 Treasure of Dragon Palace City, 1. Shiyu had never been beaten up in the possession state, but he had to prepare for everything. Cough. Just as he finished testing his strength, Shiyu felt his body hurt. He hurriedly called Baby Ginseng out to continue healing himself. Yi? A moment later, Baby Ginseng sighed as it rubbed Shiyu's fist. He still wanted to bully Bean Bear before his body recovered. This was karma. Woo! 11 nodded while fixing the beans. That's right. What else? Don't tell me I should test it on Susu? 11, Baby Ginseng? Wasn't hitting a water slime even more cruel? It would turn into mud in an instant. Put away those cruel thoughts. A. Suddenly, Shiyu, who was sitting on the bed, said, "How should I put it? I suddenly have a bold idea." Woo? Li? 11 and Baby Ginseng revealed puzzled expressions and looked at Shiyu. Did he really want to hit the slime? Obviously not, Shiyu said. Buggy, Kai Tong, Susu, come out. Shiyu also summoned the other 3 pets. Buggy and Kai Tong were all right. After Susu was summoned by Shiyu this time, it stared at Shiyu with its round eyes. Hair. Shiyu also smiled at it. Susu, look at this. Shiyu took out the female armor that Ice Dragon had given to General Mu Huiyin. Name, Gemini Silver Armor. Status, broken. Level, level 6, perfect state, legendary level. Introduction: it's a broken level 9 armor that contains strong power of the sun and moon. It can perfectly coordinate the power of the intersection. Ning? Susu looked at the armor and was confused. Was it food? This can't be eaten for the time being. Shiyu chuckled and said, use the elementalization ability to cooperate with the control of the water element and transform into a human form. Wear this armor. Then, Kai Tong, possess Susu and fuse fire and water. Buggy, materialize a phantom of General Mu Huiyin for Susu and let it see General Mu Huiyin's size. Woo 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 woo. Wait a minute. Buggy's eyes were filled with tears. Didn't they agree to let it use the Ice Dragon General Rebirth combination tactic with Kai Tong? Why did it become a tall worm again with the water slime? It must be that water and fire are more compatible with the intersection power. Shiyu touched his chin. And I reckon that Kai Tong definitely likes Susu more than your phantom. Soon, under Shiyu's arrangements, Susu turned into the water element form and wore the Gemini silver armor. Because it was water element, it could freely adjust its size. At this moment, it perfectly loaded its equipment without any resistance. Shiyu and the others looked at the water element general in front of them eagerly and observed silently. Susu, use the water element to control the nature of the ice and turn yourself a little cold. Ning. Susu obeyed. The next moment, this water element general emitted a cold aura. Mi. In mid-air, the little sword spirit Kai Tong's eyes instantly lit up like a female pervert. Susu, come over here tilde. Ning? Possession, Shiyu said. In the next moment, the little sword spirit possessed the water element general. The moment the two came into contact, the blue and red light on their bodies immediately flourished. Under the light, a taiji pattern formed by water and fire appeared in front of Shiyu and the others. With a roar, Kai Tong and Susu's fusion seemed to have undergone a qualitative change. In front of Shiyu, the change in their energy value increased rapidly. Boom! A moment later, a water element general with red hair and eyes appeared in front of Shiyu with a flaming sword in hand. Energy points, 2.4 million. Ning Mi. The water element general, who was even taller than Shiyu, let out a voice and looked at its state in surprise. At this moment, Shiyu blinked. He looked at Kai Tong and Susu's new forms in surprise. Holy shit! It was really feasible. Its energy level was much higher than Kai Tong's possession of his body. 2.4 million. After all, their energy values added together were less than 240,000, and they were both commander rank. Although it was thanks to Mu Huayan's armor, it was impossible for Shiyu to wear it at all. Therefore, the possession effect was undoubtedly strong. Generally speaking, the best possession target for undead was the beast tamer who contracted it. Even if Kai Tong possessed 11 and Buggy's illusions and Ginseng Baby, the enhancement from possessing Shiyu would definitely be better. But now, because of the exclusive equipment, Mu Huayan's armor, Kai Tong temporarily had a more perfect possession target. The combination of Kai Tong and Susu directly maximized the effect of Mu Huayan's armor. Now, they were all commander rank. When they all broke through to the monarch rank and combined, how strong would their strength be? Although it might not be as ridiculous as 10 times the increase, it probably wasn't a problem to crush 11 even at its full strength. 11? Woo woo woo. Buggy also sensed the power of Kai Tong and Susu after using the equipment. It wiped its tears. As it said, equipment was the most important element in battle power. It was quite strong itself with the Ice Dragon Whiskers, Sea Dragon Scale, and Tyrant Dragon Fang. In fact, it recommended that the equipment system be permanent. Baby Ginseng looked at the combination of Kai Tong and Susu in envy. Why didn't it have such a perfect pair? Baby Ginseng had a bitter expression. If a pet partner fought with it, the pet would probably want to eat it and become stronger. Chapter 283, Treasure of Dragon Palace City, 3. Chapter 283, Treasure of Dragon Palace City, 3. It was fine without a partner. A moment later, Kai Tong and Susu removed their possession states. Kai Tong returned to its sword spirit form, while Susu returned to its water slime form. After recovering this time, the way Kai Tong looked at Susu changed. So springy, so cold, so soft. It's suddenly like this little slime that joined the team later. Ning. At this moment, Susu was also very surprised by the change in its strength just now. It felt that even if it defeated the sludge dragon that invaded Chishui Island, it wouldn't be difficult. It looked at Kai Tong, and its gaze changed. Good sister. Ning. Mi. A moment later, the two good sisters stuck together to exchange possession experience and combination skills. Shiyu, who had newly developed a dual battle strategy with extremely strong potential, was lamenting. As expected of himself, he had finally thrown out the hot potato Mu Huayan's armor, saving little Kai Tong from thinking about letting him wear it every day. As for 11, Buggy, and Baby Ginseng, they sighed at the side. Damn it. A new generation replaced the old. The classic Wuji Airlines, e.g. one-shot, and e.g. array bombardment strategy were completely gone. It was completely different from the gorgeous tactics of these newbies. Lord Shiyu! Lord Shiyu, are you there? Just as Shiyu and the others were accompanying Susu to test the new strategy and taking the opportunity to quickly integrate it into the team, in the outside world, Prime Minister Turtle came again. What's wrong, Prime Minister Turtle? After throwing the pets to the ruins to mess around, he directly invited the walking turtle minister in. Although this turtle minister was only at the monarch level and his will level was only extremely low, his energy level was terrifyingly high. It was a total of 9,960,000, making Shiyu very confused. This was already much higher than the fused Jiao Shen. In other words, this seemingly frivolous prime minister was a super expert. He now suspected how many years this turtle prime minister had lived. If it had lived for hundreds of years, it might have eaten countless treasures in Dragon Palace City during this period. Otherwise, this energy value would definitely be unscientific. Lord Shiyu, I found a few treasures of high quality but low level that you mentioned from the treasure vault. Please take a look and see if there are any that Lord Blue Sea Sprite needs. Apart from water element resources, there are other types of resources on it. Take a look. The turtle minister handed over a book. The portraits and information of the booklet were all just made with ink. The meaning of high quality and low level was very easy to understand. For example, the nutritional fruit created by the ginseng baby was limited by its growth level. After overdrafting its strength to create it with all its might, the energy level was only level 4. However, because its nutritional supplement skill had been maxed out, the quality of the nutritional fruit created was very high. This was high quality and low level. Similarly, the Dragon Ball that Buggy absorbed came from the demigod level sea serpent. At the start, it was a proper legendary level resource, a level 9 resource. But because of the erosion of time, its energy flowed away and dried up, and the energy level decreased to level 4. However, because it was the Dragon God's Dragon Ball, the quality was definitely ridiculously high, not something other level 4 resources could compare to. There was also the Mu Huiyin armor gifted by Ice Dragon. They were both high quality and low level examples. Now, if Shiyu wanted Susu's race level to improve, apart from waiting for the Blue Sea inheritance, he could only find similar resources. After all, the level of the resource was too high. It was limited by its growth level, and it couldn't devour or digest it. Sorry to trouble you, Prime Minister Turtle. Shiyu took the booklet and looked at them one by one without holding back. He didn't dislike being invested in. In all of Donghuang, which one of the 5 major financial groups didn't pull in investments everywhere when it came to powerful and high-potential people? In all of history, there wasn't a single expert who had never accepted an investment. Now, he had to accept more investment. When he grew up in the future, he just had to double the amount. This was also the goal of all the investors. The current investment was for the greater return in the future. Shiyu was currently lacking resources. It would be a waste not to. Making friends and investing everywhere was the fastest way to become stronger. Of course, he accepted it so readily because Shiyu knew that he had the ability to repay in the future. Others also knew that clearly, if he didn't have the potential, he might not necessarily be able to obtain this investment. Tears of Mermaids. This was a gem-shaped resource. The gem cat would likely be overjoyed. Black water pearl. It was about the same. The gem cat would be ecstatic. Coral spirit, million-year-old tortoise shell. Shiyu looked down one after another and realized that Dragon Palace City was really rich. Perhaps, this might not necessarily be all the collections of Dragon Palace City, but only the personal collection of the Sea Dragon King. Was this the wealth of a totem-level dragon? Woo! A moment later, Shiyu aimed at a resource that looked more suitable. Name Dead Fire Sea. Level 5. Introduction. When the surface of the lava rock erupted by the underwater volcano was quickly cooled by the seawater, under the interweaving of the extremely hot and extremely cold states, an elemental sprite of an overlord race was born. However, just as it was born, it immediately died because of the surrounding harsh environment. Only the elemental core was preserved. Shiyu, Damn, unlucky child. Therefore, it was called the Dead Fire Sea. After Shiyu saw this, he immediately thought of the combination strategy that Susu and Kai Tong had just researched. Susu undoubtedly represented extreme coldness, and Kai Tong undoubtedly represented extreme heat. Their strength could perfectly display the effect of the interlocking sword. Chapter 284, Treasure of Dragon Palace City, 4. Chapter 284 Treasure of Dragon Palace City, 4. But clearly, the two of them used the interlocking sword and Kai Tong as the tactical core. This Dead Sea Fire looked a little interesting. He wondered if Susu could evolve any skills that were better suited to the extremely hot power after devouring this to turn their combination battle strategy into a dual-core system. In addition, this level wasn't high either. Shiyu continued watching, but there weren't that many resources that were perfectly compatible. He had flipped through a lot, but he only found Dead Fire Sea interesting. As for the others, it wasn't that he couldn't devour them, but the randomness was too strong. The skills might not be of much value. Ooh? Suddenly, Shiyu flipped to the back and discovered a strange portrait. This was a goat horn? No. Name, Kirin Horn Fossil. Level, none. Introduction: it's suspected to be a mythical creature, a fossil of the divine beast, the Wind Kirin. Holy shit, Shiyu exclaimed. Oh. The turtle minister was shocked. F*CK, 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 F*CK. Shiyu exclaimed in succession. Prime Minister Turtle, this fossil, is this serious? Mythical creature's fossil? Are you kidding? Ah. That fossil is indeed suspected to be the fossil of the mythical creature, the Wind Kirin. In the beginning, it might even be a mythical resource, the Turtle Prime Minister said. It was obtained from the Dragon God ruins by a certain generation of the Dragon God hundreds of millions of years ago. It said that at the beginning, its energy level was close to a level 10 mythical resource. But the problem is that although the energy level is very strong, this fossil has almost no effect. It's just that the pure energy is strong, and it's useless. In the end, it was collected by Dragon Palace City for generations. Then, it was still useless. It has been tossed around until now. Well, it landed in the hands of Lord Azure Dragon King. Its energy level has also fallen to level 0 under the erosion of hundreds of millions of years. There's no longer any energy wave. But because its origin is really not simple, no Dragon King wants to throw it away. Shiyu stared intently at the goat horn on the manual. Ah, no, the Kirin horn image. Fossil. Moreover, it was a fossil of a mythical creature. At this moment, Shiyu's heart thumped. The first thing he thought of was not to let Susu devour it. Instead, dream stealing and materializing the divine beast, the Wind Kirin, even if it was just an illusion with just 100 millionth of its power. Then, with the mythical beast Phantom as the template, he would create the 6th mechanical pet. Initially, his goal was an ancient species like the tyrant dragon, but now, he had actually discovered a fossil suspected to be from the mythical era. Damn it, why would he want an ancient seed? He should just use a divine beast to make machinery. Mecha Kirin, Super Battleship Kirin. Of course, the premise was that this thing had a dream world that he and Buggy could enter and replicate it. But no matter what, Shiyu was completely attracted by this Kirin horn fossil. Prime Minister Turtle, can we also choose this fossil? Shiyu asked. Of course. Lord Sea Dragon King, Lord Azure Dragon King, and Lord Immortal Dragon King said that you can choose whatever you want, it said. But Lord Shiyu, are you sure you want this? The Dragon King has studied this for many generations of dragon gods. It's basically useless. I'm thinking about it, Shiyu said. All right. By the way, the Turtle Prime Minister reminded. Lord Sea Dragon King also said that you should go to the treasure vault to choose a few more resources to use as a reward for the Dragon Palace banquet the day after tomorrow. Ooh? At the Dragon Palace banquet, many overlords will take out some resources as a reward and let the juniors of Dragon Palace City compete at the banquet. When the time comes, you and Lord Ice Dragon King will also attend the banquet as the core upper echelons of Dragon Palace City. I wonder if you plan to participate in the Dragon Palace banquet? According to the Sea Dragon King, taking out some resources to greet the juniors of Dragon Palace City is also a good choice. It can provide resources. Shiyu? Good Lord, as the Minister of the Environmental Protection Department, could he use the rewards to oversee those young overlords, young monarchs, and even Heavenly King Zhu, Senior Bai, Yin Jingfan, and the others? Ah, this. Cough, there's no need for that. Let me see. As a reward resource, I should have. Shiyu felt that it was better not to trouble the Sea Dragon King about this kind of thing. Why don't he use the time fruit to tempt those overlord cubs? Especially for dragons with slow growth, the time fruit, a time element treasure that temporarily obtained a higher realm, should still be very valuable. Chapter 285, Slime vs Little White Dragon. Chapter 285, Slime vs Little White Dragon. In the end, Shiyu chose for of the resources. After Shiyu finished choosing, Prime Minister Turtle took leave. Soon, the Gem Cat circled Dragon Palace City and returned to Shiyu. Heartilda the Gem Cat yawned and entered. It saw Shiyu, who was recuperating. Your hair turned black? As soon as it entered, it discovered Shiyu's change. Has it turned black? Shiyu was also stunned. Then, he smiled and said, perhaps because I'm in a good mood. The Gem Cat curled its lips. Changing hair color depending on the mood? What was this guy talking about? Where's the reincarnation of the blue sea sprite? I brought it delicious food. Let me see it again, the Gem Cat urged. Not only Dragon Palace City and Dong Huang, even the cat wanted to build a good relationship with the blue sea sprite before it grew up. It's training with 11 and the others, Shiyu looked. What? The Gem Cat was immediately shocked. Gem Cat, W-A-W. You won't let a slime do such cruel training in your team for some overlord's will, right? The Gem Cat immediately worried if Shiyu would play this blue sea sprite reincarnation to death. Calm down. The corners of Shiyu's mouth twitched. The blue sea sprite reincarnation isn't as weak as you think. When it's at the transcendent or even the awakening level, it might have already mastered the overlord's will. It's even higher than your will level. There's no need to train at all. It's almost natural. Ooh? The Gem Cat was stunned. So rude. What did it mean that the level of willpower was higher than its? Since when did it not only have to be a battle force unit, but also a willpower unit? Then I'll call it out. Shiyu hurriedly changed the topic. Yes, the Gem Cat urged. Damn it, Shiyu had completely won this time. Call baby Ginseng and the others out too. I've also prepared them delicious food. Might as well please its companions, after all. Then, Shiyu summoned a bunch of pets. The Gem Cat immediately acted like a gentle big sister and went to feed all kinds of delicious food brought from Dragon Palace City to Susu. 11, Buggy, Baby Ginseng, and Kai Tong also borrowed the love directed at Susu and quickly ate. It's not bad to train hard, but you also have to work and rest them accordingly. Look at how hungry they are, the Gem Cat muttered. Shiyu? He never starved them before. Even if they were full, they wouldn't be able to control themselves if this cat took out so many things. Where's Senior Bai and the others? Shiyu asked. Are they on the island now? The Gem Cat, I'm not sure, they might be here, or they might have gone to play. I'm not with them. For example, that Heavenly King Zhu seemed to have gone straight to Black Flood Dragon Island from the start. The banquet is now delayed for 3 days. I reckon they might not necessarily be able to stay. Oh, I understand. Shiyu nodded. Heavenly King Zhu knew very well. Before the Dragon Palace banquet started, he would visit the Black Flood Dragon Overlord first. He had a clear goal. What did it mean to strike first? What did it mean to be the early worm? After the others reacted, they realized that there was sufficient time. It was normal for them to go tend to their studies or affairs one by one. They probably don't know about the poison dragon totem and me yet, right? Shiyu confirmed. The gem cat said, I don't know. Only the totems and a small number of sea beasts who have experienced it personally know about the poison dragon totem. The news is temporarily suppressed. As for your matter, probably even fewer people know about the blue sea sprite at the moment. Only less than 10 people present knew. However, your relationship with Ice Dragon was deduced by Yu Shu and the others. Oh? Shiyu revealed a curious expression. Yu Shu? Yes, after you and Ice Dragon left, he was stunned for a long time before deducing your relationship with Ice Dragon. As expected of the first target, Buggy used the Ice Dragon Phantom to torture. He's indeed talented, Shiyu said. Because Shiyu had displayed the Ice Dragon Phantom in the vocation assessment, Yu Shu, the descendant of the Dragon Tamer, had investigated Shiyu. Connecting Shiyu's identity as an archaeologist to the legends of the Ice Dragon Snow Mountain and Ice Dragon ruins in Icefield City, it was not difficult to determine that Shiyu and Ice Dragon might have a relationship. In addition, the old principal of ancient capital university was also associated with a guardian through archaeology. What else could Yu Shu say? He could only envy Shiyu and his experience. He was clearly the Dragon Tamer, but Shiyu, this guy who didn't even have a Dragon Tamer family, had a better relationship with dragons than any Dragon Tamer or dragon race. It was unfair. However, although they guessed that Shiyu might have met this Ice Dragon when exploring the Ice Dragon ruins, the seniority of the Ice Dragon still shocked Yu Shu and the others. Even the Sea Dragon King, who had followed Lin Feng, a legend, called the Ice Dragon Senior. The Ice Dragon followed the Time Emperor. What kind of concept was that? It completely made Yu Shu and the others dizzy. They were even more envious that Shiyu could cozy up to such a powerful figure. I heard that Shiyu is back. Outside Heaven Green Island. A group of people was flying towards Green Sky Island. At this moment, Yu Shu, White Brook, and the others who had come to visit Dragon Palace City, apart from Heavenly King Zhu and the 2 Navy Beast Tamers, were all among them. A little white dragon flew in front of them to lead the way. 1. Behind the little white dragon, Yu Shu and the others had happy expressions. They also understood the benefits of sucking up to it. The one they chose to cozy up to was naturally the little white dragon. As expected, these people weren't idling on the island. As Shiyu, the Ice Dragon, and the Sea Dragon King left, after the little white dragon came to Green Sky Island to look for Shiyu for the second time without any results, Yu Shu and the others took the opportunity to cozy up to the third prince and started to fool around with him. Chapter 286, Slime vs Little White Dragon, 1. Chapter 286, Slime vs Little White Dragon, 1. Under the lead of the local dragon, the third prince, they went to meet many heirs of overlords and monarchs and became familiar with each other in advance. CE. He. Among them, Yu Shu directly contracted a dragon of a quasi-overlord race without waiting for the Dragon Palace banquet to begin. His progress was one step faster than everyone, and he was ecstatic. Thank you for the recommendation, third prince. Yu Shu thanked the White Azure Dragon again and again. You're welcome. You're Senior Shiyu's friends, so you're my friends, the little white dragon said generously, making Yu Shu tear up. I wonder what Shiyu will contract in the end, Yu Shu muttered. The White Azure Dragon said, I'll definitely introduce a better one to Senior Shiyu. It has to be at least 60% of my quality. Believe in my taste. Yu Shu, QAQ is envious. Soon, everyone returned to Green Sky Island. At the same time, Shiyu, who had just recovered and eaten a pile of food, was taking 11, Susu, and the others for a walk on Sky Green Island to admire the scenery of Dragon Palace City. After coming to Dragon Palace City with much difficulty, Shiyu didn't want 11 and the others to always just train. It was also very important to broaden their horizons. The Gem Cat led the way in front and introduced the situation of Green Sky Island to Shiyu and the others. I don't know if it's true. I also heard Principal Feng and Lu Qingyi's speculation. But you must be interested in this. It said that the name of the Green Sky Island is formed using one character from each of the names of the Dragon Palace City's Dragon God and the Dragon Emperor. The cat lowered its voice. Xiaoyu? Wait a minute, what kind of tone was that? Buggy and the others were excited and prepared to listen to gossip. The gem cat said, in any case, it's fine as long as you know the situation is very complicated. It said that the dragon god of this generation in Dragon Palace City is the Dragon Emperor's soulmate, but he's restricted by his race. Both parties couldn't be together at that time. The dragon god's race was originally a heavenly sea divine dragon, but for the Dragon Emperor, it forcefully evolved into the image of a humanoid dragon lady. Unfortunately, the Dragon Emperor is already dead at this time. But it said that it's because of this relationship that Dragon Palace City was not only willing to befriend Dong Huang during its glory days, but even when it was weak, it was also willing to help Dong Huang. Really? Xiaoyu opened his mouth slightly. This Dragon Emperor was definitely Long Arqian. It was fine if he fell off the cliff when he was young and obtained the recognition of the mythical ruins. Now he suddenly had a partner from another race? As expected of the legendary emperor with the greatest luck in Dong Huang's history. It can't be fake. Of course, if such a history can't be verified by the person involved, no one dares to say that it's true, the gem cat said. Just eat up the gossip. Don't talk nonsense. Xiaoyu nodded, indicating that he understood. Something that even Bureau 11's index didn't dare to record randomly. Who knew if it was a folk history from somewhere? What? Principal Foam and Senior Lu said it. What they said might not be accurate. Woohoo Tilda? Just as Xiaoyu was gossiping with the gem cat, a familiar cry came from the sky. They looked up and saw the white azure dragon flying in front of them, rushing over with White Brook, Yu Shu, and the others. White Brook had huge white wings at this moment, and her hair was still white. Xiaoyu knew that this was the combination form of her and another pet. The pet was an immortal feather crane with an outstanding aura. The others also flew in their own ways, such as Yu Shu still riding the bone dragon. Senior Xiaoyu, you're finally back. What exactly were you talking about with my father? After the little white dragon came down, it said excitedly. When Xiaoyu saw it like this, he knew that regardless of whether it was the poison dragon totem or the blue sea sprite, the Sea Dragon King had never told it. As expected of this spoiled third prince. Xiaoyu. After White Brook and the others landed, they greeted Xiaoyu one by one. Xiaoyu looked at the 8 people and 1 dragon and said with a smile, "It's nothing. I didn't chat much with the Sea Dragon King. I just passed by an island on the way back and encountered a pet I was very familiar with. I was delayed by the contract." Who? When Xiaoyu finished speaking, the little white dragon was stunned. Yu Shu, White Brook, Yin Jingfan, and the others were also stunned. You finished the contract before the Dragon Palace banquet too. Yu Shu was shocked. Too. Xiaoyu looked at him. Under the introduction of the third prince, Yu Shu successfully contracted an ancient seahorse called Ancient Sea Dragon, White Brook said. White Brook was also very happy. After all, Yu Shu was also from Ancient Capital University. Ancient Sea Dragon plus his untamed heroic spirit seed also made him a potential successor for the Battle Club. Heh. Yu Shu smiled smugly again. The Ancient Sea Dragon was a quasi-overlord race, and Yu Shu was already very satisfied. It was too difficult to have a true overlord son. He was only an intermediate beast tamer now, so the chances of contracting one were really not high. Fortunately, the dragon element evolution resource prepared by his family this time, the Nether Dragon Grass, was a rare commodity. Even in Dragon Palace City, it was a popular item. Nether Dragon Grass. Dragon and undead resources. Its value even exceeded spatial resources of the same level. It could allow the dragons it consumed to awaken a super-level skill, the Undead Dragon. The Undead Dragon was a super-level clone and evolution skill. Its training exceeded the perfect stage and could allow the user to have a perfect undead clone with comparable battle power. Then, both parties could also undergo a fusion evolution. For those monarch races with only one super skill, this resource was definitely top-notch. This time, Yushu relied on this to deceive a young dragon of a quasi-overlord race. Chapter 287, Slime vs Little White Dragon, 2. Chapter 287, Slime vs Little White Dragon, 2. What luck! He didn't expect Yushu's mother to be so generous. Using their status as a dragon tamer family, she had paved the way. As expected of an only son, he was much luckier than someone with a bunch of siblings. Yin Zhengfan, Xie Qingwei, and the others beside him were more or less a little envious. Senior Shiyu, who did you contract? Do I know him? The White Dragon said regretfully. It still wanted to help Shiyu find a contract. White Brook, Yushu, Yin Zhengfan, and the others also looked at Shiyu eagerly. Good lord, Shiyu was pretty fast. As expected of a lucky person who had managed to cozy up to the Ice Dragon and Sea Dragon King. He had contracted his favorite pet so quickly. They estimated that, even if they just made a conservative guess, it had to be a low-level overlord race to be worthy of Shiyu's current identity. Only then could Shiyu take a fancy to them. It's over there. Shiyu pointed behind him. The third prince and everyone looked behind Shiyu. Well, there was a panda, a butterfly, a sword spirit, and a ginseng baby. What else was there? Everyone looked carefully and realized that a small water slime was also mixed in. Everyone couldn't react for a moment. The little white dragon asked, Senior Shiyu, where is it? Susu, Shiyu called. The water slime standing behind the iron-eating beast with Kai Tong immediately bounced forward. Ning, the water slime called. That's it. Shiyu smiled. As the water slime jumped out, the white azure dragon, White Brook, Yushu, Yin Zhengfan, and the others immediately opened their mouths wide. For a moment, they were even more at a loss. They still didn't react, unable to understand. This is water slime? The white azure dragon was extremely stunned. Senior Shiyu, why did you contract such a thing? It was quite honest. Although it felt that this thing was stronger than ordinary slimes, it was still very weak. Why would Shiyu contract it? Shiyu had clearly asked it about a bunch of overlord heirs, but in the end, it didn't choose any. Ning? Susu was stunned when it heard that. Then, her whole body became a water ball. What did it mean, such a thing? It wanted to ask Shiyu if it could punch this guy. The gem cat was also stunned. Good lord, even its father didn't dare to talk to it like this. It was so brave. Wasn't it afraid its father would beat it up? It's not an ordinary slime. Little White, you might not necessarily be able to defeat it, and your potential might not necessarily be stronger than it, Shiyu said with a smile and ill intentions. Huh? The third prince was stunned. How is that possible? Ha 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 ha. Senior Shiyu, what are you saying? I'm inferior to a slime? 11. Buggy, Baby Ginseng, and Kai Tong looked up. Did it think it was very strong? The third prince's smile stopped. However, it still shook its head suddenly. It couldn't believe it. When it came to iron-eating beasts, Butterfly of Imagination, Baby Ginseng, and this sword spirit, it had lived in Dragon Palace City since it was young and didn't understand it at all. However, things like water slimes were too common in the ocean and too common in Dragon Palace City. They were basically equivalent to the green silkworm in the forest on the ground. They were completely not worth mentioning compared to powerful sea beasts. If it was told that it was inferior to a slime, it wouldn't believe it even if it was beaten to death. Come, little guy, attack and take a look. Look here. The third prince stretched out its face and pointed at itself with his claws, saying softly to Susu. Ning? Susu was stunned. She had never seen such a request. However, it was exactly what it wanted. In the next moment, it enlarged, activating the devoured time fruit. Transformation successful. Susu had once eaten the time fruit in the ruined space. Although it couldn't transform the time fruit into a permanent racial skill, with the infinite devouring space, it was the most effective pet in Shiyu's team apart from baby Ginseng. Although it was only a monarch race, with the will of an overlord, it was also fine to say that it had the potential of an overlord. In addition to the transformation effect of infinite devouring. At this moment, through the time fruit stored in its body using the infinite devouring skill, it directly activated most of its potential with the overlord's will and the time fruit. Its energy value instantly increased from 40,000 to more than 1,000,000. Boom! A shocking monarch deterrent erupted from the little slime's body along with the mist that filled the sky. It opened its mouth wide. Under the confused expressions of the White Azure Dragon, White Brook, and the others, strong water instantly condensed and compressed in its mouth. Holy shit, monarch level! At the same time, Yu Shu and the others were immediately stunned when they sensed the monarch aura emitted by the slime. Damn, a slime of an extraordinary race had reached the level of a monarch? The slime roared. Water elemental control, Water Dragon Ball. Roar! As the water compressed in Susu's mouth, a water dragon that seemed to have been condensed from the water of a bottomless lake suddenly formed. The water dragon bared its fangs and brandished its claws, wrapped in a blue halo. With a roar, under the little white dragon's stunned expression, it smashed onto its body with a bang. With a loud bang, accompanied by a huge impact, the little white dragon's fragile body was directly pushed away suddenly. It was instantly smashed dozens of meters away, and then its entire body hit a small mountain by the river with a bang. Click! The mountain shattered, and the little white dragon that was sent flying into the mountain wall felt the pain in its body and opened its mouth wide. What happened just now? Who was it? Where was it? What was it? Roar? Monarch level. Slime. At this moment, seeing a water slime that should only know how to multiply and bubble control the water flow so perfectly, with its own body that had even reached the ridiculous monarch level. Yin Jingfan, Yu Shu, and the others widened their eyes in confusion as they looked at the little white dragon that was miserably sent flying. They then looked at Shiyu, who had an innocent expression as he scratched his cheek and tilted his head. I already said that my slime Susu is very strong. Ilai. Damn, you call this a slime? A moment later, Yu Shu, Yin Jingfan, and the others reacted. Third Prince. They forgot to tell it that every pet Shiyu contracted was not scientific. That was definitely not a water slime. It was definitely a deep-sea ferocious beast wearing a slime skin. Chapter 288, The Owl Broke Through. Chapter 288, The Owl Broke Through. Green Sky Island. Beside the river. The little white dragon flew up slightly with a look of disbelief. It looked at the water slime on the shore in confusion and then at 11, Buggy, Baby Ginseng, Kai Tong, and the other big shots who didn't find it strange at all. It fell into deep thought. For a moment, the little white dragon actually started to feel that this world was unreal. Especially when it saw White Brook, Yu Shu, and the other silent and doubtful gazes, it wanted to cover its mouth and cry. No, something was wrong. How could a slime reach the monarch level? Commander level? No, even transcendent level was difficult, all right? Impossible. How can a slime be so strong? Try again. This time, it's my turn to attack. The little white dragon's defense was broken. It didn't look very smart. Because it's not an ordinary slime, but a mutated slime, Shiyu explained in all seriousness. No one wanted to hear this explanation. No one would believe Shiyu. Yu Shu, Yin Jingfan, and the others looked at Shiyu and thought in all seriousness, feeling even more like complaining. How exactly did he manage to contract some strange pets that were so strong? At the start, the iron-eating beast, the green silkworm, the ginseng baby, and now the water slime, could he choose some pets with matching races and strength? Nink! You attack, then! At that moment, Susu looked at the white dragon without any fear. Not to mention that its strength had been increased by the time fruit, even at the awakening level, it was not afraid of experts at all. At Chishui Island, if it weren't for the cleansing water Sprite King stopping it, it would even dare to fight the Monarch-level sludge dragon. There was a reason why it died so many times and didn't grow up. Let me try, the White Azure Dragon still muttered in disbelief. It was mainly because if it didn't defeat Susu, it would lose all its face. He had to win. In an instant, the little white dragon's aura rose steadily. The substantialized deterrent spread out. Under Shiyu's gaze, its energy level actually began to increase through special super skills. Almost instantly, the little white dragon's eyes filled with purple light. Dragon Race Secret Art. Dragon God Possession. However, just a few seconds after the little white dragon increased its strength to Susu, something came from the sky. Idiot! Stop! With a shout, a mysterious object that looked like an extraterrestrial flying saucer flew over from the horizon, sweeping up strong water currents and hitting the little white dragon's face with a bang. Up the little white dragon's eyes moved. Before its face turned, its face was instantly distorted by the impact. Its eyes popped out, and then its eyes rolled back. It was sent flying again, leaving the UFO spinning on the spot for a moment before suddenly stopping, turning into a majestic old turtle. The tortoise Prime Minister glanced at the little white dragon that was sent flying by him and then at the unscathed Susu, immediately heaving a sigh of relief. It looked at the innocent-looking Susu and the group of people with their mouths agape, making it even more incomprehensible. Then, it looked at Susu with a fawning expression. Lord, you're not injured, right? This brat doesn't know the height of the sky and the depth of the earth, it's got no manners. I've already taught it a lesson for you. Don't take it to heart, ha 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 ha, the turtle minister rubbed its turtle hand and said to Susu. Holy shit! It's even harder for me to think. The Dragon Man, the Mechanical Man, the blue-haired girl, and the others were all stunned. White Brook, Yu Shu, Yin Jingfan, and the others were stunned for a moment before looking surprisingly calm. Could they say that they were already used to this unconventional magical reality? It's all right, friendly spar, friendly spar. Prime Minister Turtle, what's wrong? Shiyu looked at the Turtle Prime Minister and the little white dragon flying far away in shame. The status of the Turtle Prime Minister was higher than he imagined. It actually dared to hit the third prince. Lord Shiyu, I've brought the resources. Fast enough, right? The Turtle Prime Minister took out a big box from his four-dimensional tortoise shell. Ah, this. Shiyu's eyes lit up. It was super fast. It had not even been an hour. Who said turtle speed was slow? This was clearly a flying saucer. Then let's go. Shiyu immediately wanted to open the box with the Turtle Prime Minister. The resources are for you. The Sea Dragon King and the Azure Dragon King are looking for the third prince. I want to bring it over immediately, the Turtle Prime Minister said dutifully. That works too, Shiyu nodded. He suddenly felt that the third prince's trip was a little dangerous. A moment later, the Turtle Minister pulled the white dragon with stars in its eyes and flew into the sky, leaving Yu Shu and the others looking at Shiyu in silence. Yes. Shiyu waved his hand and put the resources back into the ruined space. Then, he grinned at White Brook and the others and smiled. It's too troublesome to explain. Senior White, I still have something to do. You guys play first. With that said, under Shiyu's farewell, Buggy teleported and immediately sent them back to their residence. Teacher Ying, White Brook looked at the gem cat, wanting to obtain some explanation from it. The gem cat elegantly passed by them. It sensed White Brook's messy gaze and said, "Don't ask. If you ask, the water is too deep. Figure it out yourself." Then, it also left with an instant transmission. Everyone. This further confirmed everyone's guess that it was a deep-sea ferocious beast wearing the skin of a slime. I don't understand. It's useless even if you don't understand. The difference between people is sometimes greater than the difference between the white azure dragon and the slime. At the residence. With the joy of opening the box, Shiyu opened the 4 resources sent by the Turtle Prime Minister. Chapter 289, The Owl Broke Through, 1. Chapter 289 The Owl Broke Through. 1. Tears of Mermaids. Sea of Fire Sprite Core. A million-year-old turtle shell. Kyrene horn fossil. In the end, Xiyu chose the 4 resources that were more compatible. It was mainly because it was too time-consuming for him to analyze other resources. It might not necessarily be compatible with Susu if he awakened new skills. First, Tears of Mermaids. Although it was called the Tears of the Mermaid, it wasn't the Tears of the Mermaid. It was the final crystal formed after a mermaid sacrificed herself. It was said that mermaids were the beloved of the sea. When they shed tears in the most desperate moment, the sea and the sky would also cry, forming a weeping phenomenon. A sea in the sky would appear, causing a storm. At that time, after the mermaid sacrificed herself, she would turn into an ethereal water vapor and become a fish that soared in the sky, perfectly controlling the sky. The mermaid's tears were the power crystals left behind at that time. There was naturally no need to talk about the elemental core of the sea flame sprite. Due to the birth of high temperature and extreme cold, Xiyu wanted to bet on whether this could create a combination skill suitable for Susu and Kai Tong. As for the million-year-old shell, it had actually been modified. What modified it was the great-grandmother of all the turtle ministers in Dragon Palace City. It was a totem-level old turtle. It used a super skill to modify the shell into several protective shells and gave them to a junior. It once had the effect of protecting itself, including the Kyrene horn fossil. These were all resources of ridiculously high levels and quality. But as time passed, among these resources, the current highest level Sea of Fire Sprite Core was only level 5. The Mermaid's Tear and the million-year-old turtle shell were only level 3. This was pretty good, just what Xiyu wanted. Compared to this, the other resources levels were still a little higher. Swallowing it was a waste of time to digest it, delaying the increase in points. Xiyu planned to find more suitable resources after returning to Dong Huang. Susu dash. Susu, yo. Nink. Here. Seeing that Xiyu had gathered new resources, Susu was very surprised. It could devour stuff again. It liked that it could become stronger through devouring Yi. Woo. Am I? Seeing that Susu, who had the will of an overlord, didn't mind reaping the benefits without sowing, Baby Ginseng, Buggy, and Kai Tong started to stare at 11. Look, this meant that adding points might not necessarily corrode the heart. Who said that strength and willpower needed to be trained hard? 11. 11 turned around stubbornly and silently did push-ups. Woo! Soon, Susu's entire body turned into a black hole, directly swallowing the mermaid tear that Xiyu had picked out like a transparent crystal. After devouring it this time, Susu didn't immediately evolve, unlike eating digestive food like the nutritional fruit to awaken new racial skills. Because the quality of the devouring item was too high, it instantly felt sleepy. Devour successful, digestion. It looked reluctantly at the huge white turtle shell, the blue and red intertwined core of the sea flame sprite that was like a pebble. Stop looking. Devouring and sleeping are more compatible. Xiyu flipped his hand and gave absolute sleep for Susu to devour in peace. One by one. You can't just gobble up hot stuff without taking your time. Nink. Susu was stunned. It realized that it had suddenly learned a new skill. Just like the last time when it learned Infinite Devour, it immediately looked at Xiyu in extreme joy and nodded hard. Sleep, Xiyu continued. Nink. A moment later, Susu was taken back into the beast-taming space in Shiyu's palm and fell asleep in peace. Susu's sleeping posture made 11 and the others reveal envious expressions. Infinite Devour was a good skill. Water was so good. It could actually learn such a powerful skill. It could evolve by devouring resources. There was no restriction on types, even living creatures. They also wanted to become water element creatures. Not only that. I originally thought that Kai Tong and fire element was a perfect match, Xiyu said. But from the looks of it, water element is. Kai Tong, asterisk knocked out smiley asterisk, tilde. Because? Skill, Heavenly Frost Cold Energy. Skill level, Super level. Introduction. It's a dual skill of ice and time. It's a special ice-type power. After mastering it, you can transform your ice-type power into Heavenly Frost Cold Energy that can freeze time. Not only could she learn the cheat skill Infinite Devour, but even the abnormal ice-type skill copied from Dragon Mother was suitable for teaching. Thinking about it carefully, it made sense. Now that Susu had mastered the control of the water element, let alone the liquid state, now she could also freely transform fixed ice and gaseous water vapor. The ice and water elements were not separated in the first place. In addition, Susu had been reincarnated for hundreds of millions of years, so it was understandable that it had a high compatibility with the time element. Perhaps it used a time skill to reincarnate. Don't worry, it's good for Susu. Shiyu chuckled and said to Kai Tong, the Frost General that can freeze time is definitely a better target for you to possess. It's a perfect match. Kai Tong's eyes lit up. However, Shiyu was suddenly very worried. This was because he really didn't want to try the feeling of teaching super skills a second time. The feeling of his life being taken away and his vitality flowing kept giving him the illusion that he might be the first to learn the overlords will before 11 and the others. In short, forget about Susu. Come and see the Kirin Horn fossil. Buggy, everything depends on you. Chapter 290, The Owl Broke Through, 2. Chapter 290, The Owl Broke Through, 2. An hour later, Shiyu and Buggy looked at the motionless white Kirin Horn fossil with bloodshot eyes. Their patience was gradually worn out. At the same time, everyone in Dragon Palace City was taking action. Dragon Palace City, Sea Dragon King Mystic Realm. The little white dragon was being beaten by the Sea Dragon King and the Azure Dragon King. It let out a painful howl. Woo, 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 woo. Beside him, the Turtle Prime Minister, who had watched for a long time, wiped its sweat. It felt like it had betrayed the prince. This is the North Wind Crystal. After beating up the disobedient little white dragon, the Azure Dragon King gave the little white dragon an extremely rare resource. It can let you master the power of wind purification. If you still want to be a third prince, go to the Dragon Palace banquet the day after tomorrow and join the Environmental Protection Department of Dragon Palace City. Before that, apologize to Lord Blue Sea Sprite. I know. The third prince's eyes were filled with tears. Howl. Why did a slime become a Blue Sea Sprite reincarnation? Shiyu tricked it. However, from a different perspective, Shiyu was so awesome. Instantly, the third prince worshipped Shiyu even more. After laying the path for the third crown prince, the Sea Dragon King and the Azure Dragon King were tired. Since the little white dragon was unwilling to follow a beast tamer, following the Blue Sea Sprite was not a bad choice. In any case, the Blue Sea Sprite probably wouldn't be able to follow Shiyu for long. At that time, the sea would be the true home of the Blue Sea Sprite. After befriending the Blue Sea Sprite, perhaps the little white dragon in the future would also have a chance to compete for the position of the dragon god with the heirs of other dragon kings? I'll give you another mission. After the Dragon Palace banquet, follow your Uncle Heiji to help recover the Rainbow Islands and integrate that place into the Dragon Palace City. I understand, the third prince held its sore buttocks and felt like he had nothing to live for. After kicking the third prince and the Turtle Prime Minister out, the Sea Dragon King and the Azure Dragon King started chatting. Has Lord Dragon God awakened? I've already called, but there are no signs of awakening. Sigh, then let's carry out the Dragon Palace banquet according to our previous preparations, said the Sea Dragon King. All right. Right, did that little guy only take for resources? The Azure Dragon King suddenly asked. Yeah, the Sea Dragon King said. Why is he only taking so little? I clearly told Prime Minister Turtle to ask him to take more. This is also convenient for him to recruit new people at the Dragon Palace banquet. At this moment, in the Sea Dragon King's eyes, the nature of the Dragon Palace banquet had changed. Human geniuses and Overlord heirs meeting? The exhibition of his heirs? Pleasing, binding the Blue Sea Sprite, the recruitment meeting of the Environmental Protection Department of Dragon Palace City. That was the focus now. The Sea Dragon King's idea was to provide Shiyu with resources and let Shiyu use these resources as a temptation to recruit new members for the Ministry of Environment and expand the influence of the Ministry of Environment. However, Shiyu directly rejected it. At that time, without the resource reward, they couldn't use just the name of the Blue Sea Sprite to recruit new people, right? Before the Dragon God woke up, they didn't dare to casually spread the news that the Blue Sea Sprite had appeared in Dragon Palace City. After all, the Blue Sea Sprite had many enemies. Countless years ago, the sea in the west was called the Abyss Sea. The sea was dark and bloody, and all the sea beasts were infected and turned into monsters. Although it was later purified by the Blue Sea Sprite and the sea returned to calm, the power of the Abyss Sea had never been severed. After all, it was a heritage from the mythical era, just like Dragon Palace City. Forget it, let them be. Let's see the situation when the time comes. If Shiyu and the others can't produce a decent reward, it won't be too late for us to provide it, the Sea Dragon King said. At this moment, the various factions in Dragon Palace City were waiting for the Dragon Palace banquet the day after tomorrow. Ice Dragon had already moved the Ice Dragon ruins into Dragon Palace City and was slowly renovating its new home. Its good friend, the Gem Cat, gave Ice Dragon advice while eating and drinking. It was envious of Ice Dragon's totem-level life. When could it have totem power? At that time, it could upgrade from the Guardian of Ancient Capital University to the Guardian of Dong Huang. The treatment would be super doubled. On the other side, the tyrannical sea legend was quietly guarding Heaven Green Island, protecting Shiyu and the Blue Sea Sprite. Everything seemed calm, but at this moment, a huge commotion had already been raised on land. Dong Huang, Imperial Capital University. Arf! Woo 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 woo. Awesome! You called me over just to see this? Principal Feng of Ancient Capital University looked at the crazy prediction owl with a stunned expression. No, President Yi and the principal of Imperial Capital University were extremely silent. It's that senior owl, broke through. Its future prediction skill proficiency has reached perfection. Principal Feng, then, what big event did you predict correctly? The proficiency of future prediction could only be increased with the correct future prediction. It was very difficult. Although it relied on resources to break through to the Overlord level, the super skill proficiency of the prediction owl had been stuck for a long time. This time it finally broke through? Principal Feng looked at the owl in surprise. Wait, you called me over for this kind of thing? It means. This time, Senior Owl said that the correct prophecy event is related to Shiyu, President Yi said. Ooh? Principal Feng frowned and suddenly had a bad feeling. He said, it predicted something? President Yi was incomparably silent. I predicted what kind of pet Shiyu would contract if he went to Dragon Palace City. It happened. The corresponding prophecy fulfillment gave Senior Owl's ability proficiency. The contents of the prophecy are: Shiyu will contract a water element totem when he goes to Dragon Palace City this time. Principal Feng? Ooh? It widened its eyes and looked at the old principal and President Yi of Imperial Capital University, Hu Fei, dancing. Was it sure this was a prophecy, not a rumor or a lie? It happened? Was it kidding? How could a master contract a totem? The two of them also shook their heads in confusion and could only look at the owl. The prophecy owl widened its big eyes and said, I'm just an owl. I don't know how to explain it to you. In any case, the skill proficiency has increased, so I should have hit the jackpot. This is the most ridiculous thing I've predicted in the past 100 years. It's off the charts. It's not a totem heir, it's a totem. From today onwards, I'm also a proper overlord. Ha ha ha, ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha. As expected of me. I am the light of this world. Who dared to say my predictions were unreliable? Chapter 291, 100 Transformation Stone. Chapter 291, 100 Transformation Stone. Devour success. Digestion, analysis, transformation. Evolution successful. It has been converted into this substance and awakened the racial skill Rain Prayer. Devour success. Digestion, analysis, transformation. Evolution successful. Life level has been increased, awakened racial skill Steam Explosion. A while later, Shiyu's surprised voice came from the ruins in Shiyu's residence. Shiyu looked at the awakened water slime and rubbed it hard with a look of disbelief. Ooh? Susu tried to struggle. Shiyu said, "How should I put it? I keep feeling that it's a loss. Why are there only 2 high-level skills? This is a failure?" Name, Chi-Yu. Introduction, it's a high-level water-type skill. It can summon rain clouds through prayer. And rainstorm. Name Steam Explosion. Introduction, it's a high-level water-type skill. It transforms water into high-temperature steam and compresses it into detonation. They were all high-level water element skills. Although the former was the weather skill with the highest cost-effective ratio, and the latter was a very powerful water element attack skill, it couldn't change the fact that they were high-level skills. After sleeping and digesting for a day, Suzu had awakened 2 high-level racial skills. Shiyu didn't expect it. After all, it had swallowed the last crystal left behind by a suspected totem-level mermaid after sacrificing itself. Shiyu originally thought that it would be some super skills like Tears of Heaven, or Sea of Sky, or Holy Spirit Mermaid Summon. In the end, there were only 2 high-level skills that could be replicated and taught casually. Shiyu cried. Moreover, these skills could also be replaced by water element control. Ning? Susu looked at Shiyu with watery eyes. Wasn't the rain prayer good? Wasn't the steam explosion good? It felt that it had become much stronger after waking up. It's not that it's bad. I understand. A moment later, Shiyu discovered the problem. As everyone knew, the race level was determined jointly by various aspects such as vitality, energy value, physical fitness, racial talent, racial skill, and attributes. Some pets only had 1 super skill, but because their physical fitness was off the charts, they could be considered a quasi-overlord race. Some pets only had 2 super skills, but because of the other attributes, it was possible for them to reach high-level overlord races. Shiyu observed Susu carefully again and realized that after it completed the Infinite Devour evolution, the main increase was not racial skills, but in other aspects. Firstly, Susu's energy level was higher, reaching more than 50,000. Among monarch races, it was definitely the best. After all, its racial skill proficiency had never increased at all. Secondly, Susu's life force also seemed to have improved. The most direct performance of this quality was that it could increase the pet's lifespan and recovery speed of its injuries. Apart from that, Susu's talent-type skill Elementalization seemed to have been mastered better. Let's take a look at Elementalization, Shiyu said. Transform into gaseous water. Ning. Under Shiyu's gaze, Susu instantly turned into a nearly invisible gas and turned into gaseous water. It was also as fast as turning into liquid water, as if this was the key to awakening the steam explosion. Now, this should be Susu's interface. Name a mutated water slime. Race level, high-level monarch. Then it looks like it's not bad. Shiyu nodded. Balanced development was the most important. This was not a loss. If Susu had a bunch of super skills and had a body as weak and as lacking in mana like Buggy, Shiyu would also have a headache. It was pretty good now. The reason why the dragons were powerful was because their bodies were strong. Even without using skills, they could rely on their super powerful physical attacks alone to smash a group of strong enemies. In addition, the bodies of the dragons had top-notch resistance to elements. Now, not only could Infinite Devour increase the number of racial skills, but it could also strengthen Susu's other shortcomings. It was very perfect. Ning. Again, I'll give you another one. I'll try to awaken a super skill this time. Soon, Susu, who had just woken up, was fed a turtle shell and a pile of common materials for absolute sleep by Shiyu. It fell asleep again in a daze. Shiyu didn't know what skill Susu could awaken this time, but he hoped that Infinite Devour could transform Absolute Sleep into Susu's racial skill through the common materials used to teach Absolute Sleep. At that time, the combination skill of Absolute Sleep and Infinite Devour could probably devour higher-level resources at the fastest speed. Ha! After checking on the changes in Susu, Shiyu came out of the ruins with sleepy eyes and went for a casual walk. He had been researching that Kirin horn fossil for the past 2 days, tiring him and Buggy out. In the end, he still couldn't figure out anything. It didn't seem to be the same difficulty for entering a dream mythical creature fossil compared to ordinary ancient creature fossils. Dragon Palace City had been collecting this thing for hundreds of millions of years. A bunch of dragon kings and dragon gods had yet to develop anything. Shiyu didn't know if he could get lucky. However, unlike Dragon Palace City, he actually had a certain research advantage. Because in modern times, humans had established the special dream stealing system of meditation and dream stealing. This was a special dream entry ability that belonged to human beast tamers. Only beast tamers could use it with pets that could steal dreams. It was created by Emperor Shi and then developed abroad. It even gave birth to the special profession of dream stealing. One of the prerequisites of the Dream Transformation Stone is that Buggy's proficiency must have already reached a transcendent level with the Dream Steal skill, but Buggy was already beyond that, so it's definitely not because of proficiency, but the strength level of growth that was affecting the performance of the skill. Apart from that, the second condition is that the Beast Tamer has to use the special meditation technique created by Emperor Shi to cooperate. And the Beast Tamer's level determines the effect of meditation. Therefore, if the mythical fossil can also let me enter a dream, the reason why it can't succeed might be because of the level of Buggy and me. 2. 11. How annoying. Shiyu walked on the street in frustration, wanting to find Senior White to chat about pets. If he really couldn't find her, then Xia Qingwei was good too, or that blue-haired girl. He could easily suffocate from studying alone. However, as he walked, Shiyu's gaze was still attracted by a man. It was the mechanical man from Star Capital University. He seemed to have just returned from the outer island alone. He was riding a black mechanical steel eagle that was several meters tall, looking majestic. Shiyu focused. Name a mechanical wings of heaven. Attributes: machinery, wind. Race level: high-level monarch. Level of growth: monarch level. Energy points: 1,900,000. Introduction: it's modified from the evolution of the wings of wind. It looked pretty good. As a young man, the energy value of his mechanical pet was even higher than that of the dean of the ancient capital university's mechanical college. Of course, this was also related to the type. Dean Hao's purple electric mecha needed to fuse with the Beast Tamer to display its strongest battle power. At that time, its battle power might even multiply. It was similar to Jiao Xian's ultimate sacred dragon beast, but this mechanical man from Star Capital University. His mechanical pet was a biological modification faction and couldn't fuse with the Beast Tamer. Hi, Shiyu greeted the guy in the sky. Upon hearing that, Master Mechanic Fan Yu, who had graduated from Star Capital University, looked down at Shiyu and silently let the mechanical beast land. Shiyu? After he descended, he looked at Shiyu and couldn't understand this junior. First, he had tricked the Totem Frost Dragon into coming to Dragon Palace City, and then he contracted a strange super slime. Shiyu's experience was really rich. Unlike him, who could only bring a bunch of technical reports everywhere to deceive the sea beasts into becoming his research partner, it was very bitter. Have you found any sea beasts willing to be modified? Shiyu chuckled. No, Fan Yu shrugged. Do you have a target? No. Do you want to come and chat? About what? Fan Yu was stunned. Anything is fine. I'm quite interested in mechanical modification now. Fan Yu had a suspecting face. Facing Shiyu's attempt to hit on him, he kept feeling that Shiyu was up to no good. For example, do you know Jiao Xian? Shiyu asked. Fan Yu's expression changed. I know him. Why mention him? Isn't he very powerful? Fan Yu said, of course he's powerful. Among mechanics under the age of 30, almost no one is stronger than him. After this National League ends, he might have a chance to rank in the top 10 among beast tamers under the age of 30 in Donghuang. You mean the mechanical reward for the National League? Shi Yu asked. You know too. Fan Yu was stunned. He had only obtained this information because he had a member of the 4th Bureau at home. That's true. The National League will be held in a month. The reward information should have been leaked by now. Fan Yu nodded. What is it? Shi Yu asked. Do you know about this event or not? Shi Yu chuckled and said, I know it's a mechanical material, but I don't know the specific type. I heard it's wind element or ice element. He had also heard it from Principal Feng last time. After hearing it, he didn't pay much attention. All right. The main reward is actually the Wind Element 100 Transformation Stone. Wind Element. Principal Feng and the others were right. Name, 100 Transformation Stone, Wind. Level 8. Introduction. The Stone of 1000 Transformations has memory function, top-notch mechanical materials, easy awakening, easy combination, easy modification. The moment Fan Yu finished speaking, Shi Yu quickly investigated the information about the 100 Transformation Stone through the index. Then, the index popped up a pile of reference materials and a pile of reference videos for him. Shi Yu opened a battle video. In the video in front of him, a woman wearing a mecha battlesuit with short black hair appeared. Then, she started to summon her pet. A cube prop that looked like a Rubik's Cube appeared in her hand. As she threw it, the black Rubik's Cube immediately divided into even smaller black cubes that filled the sky and combined in the sky. In the blink of an eye, countless black Rubik's Cube formed a super-humanoid body filled with a black rock texture and huge rock wings. 100 Transformation Stone, Dark, the main material to form the Overlord-level body of the Black Wing Demon God. Pilot, Xiao Shuang. After closing the video, Shi Yu opened some other videos and realized that this 100 Transformation Stone was indeed the best mechanical material. With this as the main ingredient, it seemed that it could modify multiple mechanical forms at the smallest cost. It could allow mechanical pets to switch freely between various mechanical forms, greatly reducing the difficulty of modification for mechanics. The machinery that was still a huge mecha just now could instantly become a battleship, a heavy mecha, and a sniper cannon with a mechanic's thought. Hey! At this moment, Fan Yu saw that Shi Yu was suddenly distracted and couldn't help but shout. What are you thinking about? Do you know what the 100 Transformation Stone is? He asked. Shi Yu reacted and looked at him. I know, and I want it. He felt that if he developed the Wind Careen Phantom one day, it would be very compatible with it. Even if he couldn't develop a magical beast, throwing a white Rubik's Cube casually could turn it into a battleship and a Gundam. It was also quite handsome. At that time, he would let Kai Tong and Susu possess it. It was enough that he had a Gundam. This was the romance of men. Fan Yu? Chapter 292, Dragon Palace Banquet Begins, 1. Chapter 292 Dragon Palace Banquet Begins, 1. Wake up! Fan Yu waved his hand in front of Shi Yu. Why do you want this thing? Building machinery, Shi Yu said. The corners of Fan Yu's mouth twitched. You're not a mechanic, right? Was he an archaeologist or a feeder? In short, he definitely had nothing to do with mechanics. And now he was interested in machinery. It was just that his thoughts were problematic. Moreover, who would want to use the 100 Transformation Stone to create machines right from the start? This was a high-end transforming machine, and it could only be played by legends. It was good for newbies to understand the four-wheel drive and remote-controlled planes first. Forget it, I'm not talking to you anymore. I still have to come up with a temporary modification plan for that sea beast with a missing body. Fan Yu muttered and patted the wings of wind, planning to slip away. Shi Yu had contracted an impressive watertight pet himself, but he had yet to contract it. Shi Yu was stunned. Why not talk a bit more? Let's talk another day. I'm busy looking for a pet. Fan Yu hurriedly waved. All right, Shi Yu covered his forehead. Forget it, it was immoral to stop others from looking for a pet. He'll let him go then. However, the main reward of the National League is actually the 100 Transformation Stone. Then, as he watched Fan Yu leave, Shi Yu fell into deep thought. He really didn't expect this. This thing was a level 8 resource, worth about 1 billion. From the situation of the previous National League, it was already not bad if the value of the champion reward was 10% of this one. The 4th Bureau was really going all out this time. Was. In short, at that time, if Jiao Xian won the 100 Transformation Stone, Imperial Capital University would completely lose. After all, the results of the National League also determined the distribution of education fees for the 9 major universities to a certain extent. However, if the national champion wasn't Jiao Xian, would the 4th round cry? It's not a big problem. As long as I join the 4th Bureau, everyone will be family. No one will lose out. There's still a month. Kinda want this reward. In an instant, Shi Yu had already browsed through most of the information on the 100 Transformation Stone. Although 100 Transformation Stone couldn't make him create 2 powerful mechanical pets, creating one that was pretty good was enough to build a good foundation. For an Overlord-level Black-Wing Demon god like the legendary mechanic of Dong Huang, the main ingredient was indeed 100 Transformation Stone, but it was not as simple as just one. 100 Transformation Stone was not enough to connect the many mechanical materials to form a huge body more than 10 meters tall. If he wanted to form such a body, he might not even be able to stack 10 pieces. However, in a competition at the level of the National League, it was impossible to reward too many such rare resources. One piece was already a very rare situation. Because the characteristics of the 100 Transformation Stone were easy to modify, easy to assemble, and easy to awaken. Even if there was only one piece, it could perfectly match Jiao Xian's Ultimate Holy Dragon Beast and increase the potential of the Ultimate Holy Dragon Beast. At that time, the 100 Transformation Stone would be equivalent to an accessory ingredient of the Ultimate Holy Dragon Beast. There was still a difference from the core main ingredient. If Shi Yu obtained the 100 Transformation Stone, with the fact that he didn't have any other rare mechanical materials, he would definitely use the 100 Transformation Stone as the core. Shi Yu didn't mind. The formless and formless 100 Transformations body without a fixed form was quite in line with his thoughts. With the 100 Transformation Stone as the main mechanical material, it wouldn't be incompatible with the illusion. It was pretty good. Of course, there were also shortcomings. It was expensive. Seeing that the mechanical man had run away, Shi Yu planned to find the beast-eared girl to chat and give her a plan to contract a mermaid. Shi Yu wanted to see what a human and a human-type pet mermaid looked like. However, at this moment, the tyrannical sea legend suddenly appeared in front of Shi Yu. Shi Yu looked at the top battle power of Dong Huang, who had suddenly walked out and stopped. Senior Yu, what's wrong? Tyrannical Sea Legend was wearing clothes similar to a Chinese tunic suit. His eyes under his short grey hair were very lively. He looked at Shi Yu and said, "What are you going to do?" "To find Whitebrook and the others to chat." Tyrannical Sea Legend shook his head and said, "At your age, you should prioritize business. Let's talk when we get back. They also came to look for you previously, but they were stopped by me. The first thing you should prepare now is tomorrow's Dragon Palace banquet." Now. Who? Shi Yu was paralyzed. No way, even the Tyrannical Sea Legend wanted to interfere. Was the Tyrannical Sea Legend trying to restrict his personal freedom? Ever since he returned, the Tyrannical Sea Legend had always asked him to take this Dragon Palace banquet seriously. Shi Yu indeed took it seriously. He had already made Baby Ginseng and Buggy work overtime. As a beast tamer, couldn't he chill a little? "You have to take it seriously," said the Tyrannical Sea Legend. Although the Sea Dragon King and the others support the Blue Sea Sprite to establish their faction with the power of Dragon Palace City, the name Blue Sea Sprite can't be revealed. Therefore, how much power you can gather in this event will depend on your own ability. Whether it's to show your potential or to gain benefits, you have to do it well. At the moment, although Dong Huang and Dragon Palace City are allies, no human has been able to interfere in the internal affairs of Dragon Palace City. You will also be the first in 1,000 years for a human to take on the important role of Dragon Palace City. In the long term, this is a good thing for your future development and the growth of the Blue Sea Sprite. Chapter 293, Dragon Palace Banquet begins, 1. Chapter 293 Dragon Palace Banquet begins, 1. Don't be smug just because you contracted the Blue Sea Sprite. This race has far-reaching ambitions. You might not be able to keep it in the future, so you have to work hard to improve yourself. In fact, if you really want to become partners with it and enjoy the convenience brought by this identity, you have to bear a certain amount of responsibility. Do you have this awareness? The tyrannical sea legend said, the enemies of the Blue Sea Sprite are much more than the enemies of General Mu Huiyin. I understand. Shi Yu rubbed his hair to indicate that he understood. After contracting Susu, he had indeed quickly understood this matter. The greatest enemy of the Blue Sea Sprites should be the Western Abyss Sea. It was said that the rulers of that sea area in ancient times were gods from the universe that could be traced back to the mythical era. Ordinary creatures would fall into madness just by seeing their totems and touching their traces. Their blood dyed the entire sea area. These existences were also regarded by the generations of sea elves as the greatest ecological pollutants and invaders of the Blue Planet Sea. Although the Abyss Sea had disappeared, if it really came back, there would probably be another storm of blood in the ocean. Shi Yu was optimistic. Damn it, he couldn't be optimistic. Thinking about it carefully, in the team, Buggy seemed to be the one who made him worry the least. Buggy, as expected of it. To a certain extent, it was the most harmless. Shi Yu didn't know if it was praise or a belittlement. On the other side, Legend Sea Tyrant asked again, do you really not need me to give you some resources? Don't worry, I'm prepared for this. Shi Yu grinned. It can definitely attract all the sea beasts. All right. Legend Sea Tyrant nodded and didn't ask further. Shi Yu came from Bureau 11 and the 3rd Bureau, and he even knew the totem Ice Dragon. He didn't believe that he didn't have anything good. Then I'll go back and continue preparing? Shi Yu said. With the tyrannical sea legend stopping him, he couldn't slack off. Yes. Tyrannical sea legend nodded. The next day, the Dragon Palace banquet that had been delayed for 3 days was finally about to begin. The area of the Dragon Palace City's mystic realm, even if it wasn't a deep mystic realm, was far larger than ancient capital city. At this moment, the gazes of the entire Dragon Palace City were attracted by an island. Dragon Yang Island. This island wasn't small either. It could easily accommodate hundreds of thousands of elite sea beasts from various seas. The entire Dragon Feast Island was arranged outward at the center. According to strength and race ranking, every area had different sea beasts. For example, in the center was the host of this Dragon Palace banquet, the Sea Dragon King. It lay on the huge dragon nest and enjoyed the worship of countless sea beasts. The little white dragon and the turtle prime minister stood on both sides and guarded at the side. However, what was new was that there was a huge dragon nest beside the Sea Dragon King, which surprised the sea beasts participating in the banquet. Could it be that this was prepared for the Azure Dragon King? The Azure Dragon King was also hosting this banquet? As for the area surrounding Sea Dragon King, it was the territory of the sky-penetrating whale, the Sea Yakshaw, the other Overlord-level generals of Dragon Palace City, the Mermaid Queen, the Black Flood Dragon Overlord, and dozens of other ocean overlords. These Dragon Palace overlords and their clansmen, such as their heirs, occupied the second core circle. Of course, in this area, apart from them, there was also a special force, the human race. Tyrannical Sea Legend sat calmly in the seat and looked at the Sea Dragon King in the center quietly. Beside him, Yu Shu, Yin Jingfan, and the others were especially reserved. So many Overlord-level creatures. As expected of the strongest group in the ocean. Only on such an occasion can one feel the insignificance of the beast-tamer individual and feel the power of Dong Huang, Heavenly King Zhu said with a smile as he sat in the seat. With his strength, it might be very difficult for him to fight against one of the weaker overlords, but there were dozens of such overlords in Dragon Palace City. This was only to participate in the banquet. In addition to the other totems other than the Sea Dragon King, Heavenly King Zhu deeply sensed the power of this totem faction. However, as a human super force not inferior to Dragon Palace City, Dong Huang was also the main reason why they could sit here. By the way, what about Shi Yu? What's wrong with the slime you guys were talking about? It can't be some totem son who can transform, right? After Heavenly King Zhu arrived at the scene, he realized that Shi Yu didn't come with everyone. He had also heard everyone talk about the monarch-level water slime and couldn't help but be extremely curious. If it weren't for the tyrannical sea legend stopping him, he would have long gone to Shi Yu to satisfy his curiosity. He has additional activities with Senior Ice Dragon. The tyrannical sea legend said calmly. Oh, Heavenly King Zhu felt that he was being a bit annoying. The corners of his mouth twitched. He shouldn't have asked. Zhu Yun, Yu Shu, Wang Shu, Peng Zijie, Shi Yu, and the others have successfully contracted their pets. This Dragon Palace banquet is one of the few opportunities left for you. Soon after the Dragon Palace banquet, we will leave the ocean, so you have to seize the opportunity. Tyrannical Sea Legend reminded Whitebrook, Yin Xingfan, and the others. As a top-notch master of Dong Huang, a young genius who could resist an overlord with all his might, Heavenly King Zhu had enough qualifications to negotiate with the Black Flood Dragon Overlord. He had already successfully obtained the recognition of the Black Flood Dragon Overlord and was entrusted with the commander-level Black Flood Dragon Cub. Yu Shu relied on resources and the introduction of the Little White Dragon. As for Wang Shu and Peng Zijie, they were beast tamers of the Dong Huang Navy. They had a contract with the Ocean Army of Dragon Palace City and were assigned regularly. Naturally, they also found their comrades. Therefore, at the moment, almost half of the beast tamers who came to Dragon Palace City had already achieved their goal. Chapter 294, Dragon Palace Banquet begins, 2. Chapter 294 Dragon Palace Banquet begins, 2. As for the others, they might still be waiting for an opportunity to find their favorite pet on the largest stage, the Dragon Palace Banquet. Brother Sponge, how have you been? Ah, isn't this Brother Octopus? Ah, the Overlord Sea Star is here too. At the same time, in the core area of the Dragon Palace Banquet, the Sea Overlords who had better relationships were also chatting with each other. The huge yellow Sponge Overlord and the gloomy-looking Octopus Overlord greeted each other politely. Not far from them, a pink and strong Sea Star also joined the group with a smile. Elsewhere, the pregnant mermaid queen received greetings and concerns from various races and asked most questions about whether she should arrange a baby marriage for the little mermaid in her stomach. Sky-penetrating whale general and sea yaksha general were with many overlords and drank and chatted happily. As for the overlord heirs, such as the sponge baby, the octopus brother, the silly sea star, the tiger whale sister, and the demon sister, they continued to size up and observe the young geniuses in the human area. Their elders had also instructed that if they encountered a suitable young beast tamer, they could follow, but the human had to be outstanding. The most basic requirement was to be able to show off at the Dragon Palace Banquet. At this Dragon Palace Banquet, the lowest threshold to participate was also the level of a monarch. Only the monarch-level factions in the Dragon Palace City's sphere of influence were qualified to participate. At the moment, apart from the Sea Dragon King at the core, the Overlord factions in the inner circle, the Monarch factions in the outermost circle. There were no lower-level factions. However, it was impossible to fill an island with Monarch-level sea beasts and Overlord-level sea beasts alone. At the moment, there were more Overlord-level big shots, the family members of Monarch-level sea beasts, and their followers on Dragon Banquet Island. They were here to join in the fun. Beside the Sea Dragon King, the Turtle Minister slowly floated up. When it flew to the height where all the sea beasts could see it, it looked around. Cough, cough, cough. The old turtle coughed dryly. Its voice was extremely penetrating, immediately attracting the attention of all creatures. Countless sea beasts immediately looked at the Turtle Minister. It was said that the Turtle Minister race could be traced back to the early stages of the establishment of the Dragon Palace. As the saying went, the iron-willed turtle prime minister, the dragon god of the flowing water. For hundreds of millions of years, the races of the Dragon God and the Dragon King had changed countless times, but the Turtle Prime Minister race had always relied on its monarch race to survive until now. For countless years, it wasn't like the Turtle Minister race had never produced an expert. Every once in a while, it wasn't surprising for them to produce a totem. After all, among all the known races, the Turtle Minister's race, the Longevity Turtle, was the race with the longest lifespan among the known races at the same level of growth. Even some overlords, totems, elemental life forms, and undead life forms couldn't compare to the Longevity Turtle of the monarch race in terms of lifespan. Now, every Dragon King in Dragon Palace City had a tortoise Prime Minister assisting them. If nothing went wrong, after the Ice Dragon King joined Dragon Palace City, the Longevity Turtle race would also send a tortoise to help the Ice Dragon manage trifles. At the moment, following the Sea Dragon King, the Turtle Minister was the one who had been assisting the Sea Dragon King ever since it joined Dragon Palace City. Its status was very high, not inferior to some Overlord-level sea beasts. On behalf of the Sea Dragon King, I welcome everyone to participate in the Dragon Palace banquet. It sent a telepathic message. I'm really sorry for making everyone wait 3 more days because of an accident. Roar. It's all right, we still have to thank the Sea Dragon King for entertaining us for 3 more days. Ha 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 ha. Below, many sea beasts roared. Yes, Tildet in the human area, the Gem Cat also nodded. How good would it be if it was delayed for another month? Forget it, losing weight was important. At the moment, there might be a portion of guests who don't know why the Dragon Palace banquet is delayed. Before the Dragon Palace banquet starts, I'll explain to everyone and announce a piece of news, the Turtle Prime Minister continued. The sea beasts looked at the Prime Minister curiously. After most sea beasts arrived at Dragon Palace City, they would eat, drink, and play around. They really didn't know what had happened. In addition, Dragon Palace City didn't specially promote it, so only a small number of people knew about the situation. The Turtle Minister said heavily, a few days before the Dragon Palace banquet, several forces of the Dragon Palace who came to participate in the Dragon Palace banquet were attacked on the way. The attacker was a mutated poison dragon totem. This is the main reason why the Dragon Palace banquet was forced to be delayed. Whoosh! After Prime Minister Turtle finished speaking, the crowd immediately went into an uproar. Totem? Poison dragon totem? In the human area, Yu Shu and the others also cursed. Are there any sea beasts who dare to attack the Dragon Palace? Poison dragon totem? What's going on? Many sea beasts were shocked. In order to resist this poison dragon totem, General Luo Sha was heavily injured, and many soldiers of the Dragon Palace were also heavily injured. If not for the timely return of Lord Immortal Dragon King, along with the full support of Dr. Holy Shell, Dr. Jellyfish, and Dr. Coral, the consequences would have been unimaginable. Of course, in order to let everyone successfully carry out the Dragon Palace banquet, after the Sea Dragon King received the news, he personally took action to suppress the poison dragon totem. With the help of Lord Azure Dragon King and Lord Ice Dragon King, the suppression operation went very smoothly. Thank you, Sea Dragon King. Thank you, Sea Dragon King. Many sea beasts that had been injured by the poison dragon totem and had been healed were thanking the Sea Dragon King again at the banquet. Chapter 295, Dragon Palace Banquet Begins, 3. Chapter 295 Dragon Palace Banquet Begins, 3. There's no need to thank me. This is what I should do, the Sea Dragon King said slowly as he circled the dragon nest. If you want to thank someone, thank the Immortal Dragon King, the Azure Dragon King, and the Ice Dragon King. Thank you, below. Another wave of thanks erupted. Regardless of whether it was those who had never experienced the poison dragon incident, they all thanked him. In any case, gratitude didn't cost money. It was always right to thank him more. However, suddenly, these sea beasts realized that something was wrong. Eh? They knew the Immortal Dragon King, one of the 8 totems of the Dragon Palace. They also knew the Azure Dragon King, one of the 8 totems of the Dragon Palace, who was even the wife of the Sea Dragon King. However, what was this Ice Dragon King? Many Overlord and sea beasts looked at each other. The monarch and sea beasts were even more stunned. They had never heard of it. At this moment, the Turtle Prime Minister coughed dryly and said, "I have to announce something important. At this Dragon Palace banquet, a great being wanted to join our Dragon Palace city. Just as it arrived, it cooperated with the Sea Dragon King to seal the Poison Dragon Totem. It played a very critical role in this battle and helped our Dragon Palace city perfectly survive this crisis. This is the Honorable Lord Ice Dragon King. Everyone, welcome to Lord Ice Dragon King's seat." Roar! With a sentence from the Turtle Prime Minister, the surrounding temperature instantly fell. Strands of cold wind lingered around the island without any warning, freezing the air and making frost crystals dance in the sky. Under the outline of the snowstorm, a huge monster dozens of meters long flew over from the sky. It spread its huge wings and descended here, like a legend descending. Roar! It roared, and the strong ice stone body covered in blue and purple dragon scales directly stretched out. A cold wind swept the dragon might in all directions. Boom! With a boom, the surrounding time froze. Countless sea beasts opened their mouths wide and looked at this super dragon that emitted the power of totems, not understanding the situation. The ice dragon slowly landed on the dragon nest beside the Sea Dragon King. At this moment, all the sea beasts finally knew who the dragon nest beside the Sea Dragon King was left for. They widened their eyes and were a little shocked. A totem-level dragon had just joined Dragon Palace City, and it was a dragon from the west. This Dragon Palace banquet wasn't for nothing. The power structure of the Dragon Palace was about to change again. Holy shit! At this moment, looking at the frost dragon that landed in the dragon nest, Heavenly King Zhu, Yin Jingfan, Yu Shu, Fan Yu, and the others immediately clicked their tongues. It wasn't that they were shocked that the frost dragon had suddenly descended. After all, they had seen the ice dragon in advance. Just as they arrived at Dragon Palace City, what shocked them the most was the ice dragon's shoulder. A figure supported himself on the huge frost dragon's body and stood calmly on the totem dragon's shoulder. Then, it descended and became the focus of countless sea beasts. Who else could this person be but Shiyu? As the ice dragon descended, the Sea Dragon King nodded at the ice dragon and Shiyu. The ice dragon and Shiyu's gazes looked at the many sea beasts in all directions. At that moment, not only Heavenly King Zhu and the others, but these sea beasts also naturally realized that something was wrong. The descent of the totem ice dragon naturally shocked them. However, there was actually someone standing on the shoulder of a totem. This shocked them even more. What right did this person have? Even if he was a titled legend, he wasn't qualified to stand on the shoulder of the totem, right? Moreover, this person was so young. Let me introduce you to everyone. The Tortoise Prime Minister said, "This is Senior Frost Dragon. You might be unfamiliar with its name. But after hearing my introduction, it definitely won't be unfamiliar. The Dong Huang has been on good terms with our Dragon Palace for generations. Since ancient times, we have a good friendship with humans. And in a country with a history of 2,500 years, there's definitely no way to avoid talking about the legendary beast tamer who pioneered everything, which is Senior Emperor Shi, who established the Dong Huang dynasty. As for Lord Ice Dragon King, it was the senior who participated in the totem battle with the Emperor 2,500 years ago, the Guardian General Mu Huiyin, and won the totem battle. Its reputation was known to everyone at that time. It was the true founder of Dong Huang. This time, it will join our Dragon Palace City and start a new journey. Initially, many sea beasts indeed didn't know the origin of this ice dragon, but after hearing the introduction of the Turtle Prime Minister, their eyes instantly widened. Holy shit, this identity origin was so cool. Why did it feel that it was even more impressive than the experience of the current dragon god in Dragon Palace City? The current dragon god of Dragon Palace City had only successfully advanced with the help of the Dragon Emperor of Dong Huang 1,000 years ago. And this new dragon was actually a super big boss who had followed Emperor Shi to end the totem battle? In an instant, countless ocean overlords sucked in a breath of cold air emitted by the ice dragon. Countless weaker sea beasts shouted respectfully, "Lord Ice Dragon King." Hello, Ice Dragon breathed out cold air and said proudly. Of course. There's another law that needs introduction. The turtle minister continued to cough dryly and looked at Shiyu, who had come with the frost dragon, on the frost dragon's shoulder. It said to everyone, and this human lord. As it finished speaking, dozens of ocean overlords and thousands of monarch-level sea beasts looked at Shiyu. Chapter 296, Dragon Palace Banquet Begins, 4. Chapter 296 Dragon Palace Banquet Begins, 4. They were silent and kept guessing. They had all seen it. The super big boss of Dong Huang, the tyrannical sea legend, the human big boss who could fight equally with the Sea Dragon King, was sitting there. Although the tyrannical sea legend was no longer a stranger to these sea beasts, after all, the reputation of the tyrannical sea legend was obtained from fighting in the sea. What abilities did this young man have to be introduced exclusively? Even the tyrannical sea legend didn't have this treatment this time. What was the connection between him and the Ice Dragon King? Heavenly King Zhu, Yu Shu, Yin Jingfan, and the others gulped. They kept feeling that there was something wrong with Shiyu. Damn it, what's wrong with this guy? Why is he always in the limelight? Heavenly King Zhu cried in his heart. If it were him, how handsome would he be? He would take a photo and post it on the internet. It would be the headlines for a month, all right? At that time, when the traffic came, there would be more money to train pets. This guy. White Brook, Xia Qingwei, and the others also gritted their teeth. Although they were used to him showing off, everyone clearly came here regularly. Why did only Shiyu's appearance have special effects? It was unfair. This is, the Turtle Prime Minister thought for a moment. This is Lord Ice Dragon King's spokesperson, Lord Shiyu. Lord Shiyu has outstanding talent and is a super genius of Dong Huang. He was recognized by Lord Immortal Dragon King, Lord Sea Dragon King, Lord Green Dragon King, and Lord Ice Dragon King, and was specially allowed to become a general of Dragon Palace City. The Dragon Palace will establish the Sea Environmental Protection Department of the Dragon Palace City under the management of Lord Shiyu. The Sea Environmental Protection Department will be in charge of overall coordination and supervision of major environmental issues. Guidance, coordination, and supervision of ecological protection. The Sea Environmental Protection Department has many functions and has extraordinary origins. Under Lord Shiyu's lead, I believe it can definitely bring a huge positive impact to the Dragon Palace City. Let us also welcome Lord Shiyu to Dragon Palace City. Eh? As soon as the Turtle Minister finished speaking, Heavenly King Zhu, White Brook, Yu Shu, and the others opened their mouths slightly, as if they had heard something unbelievable. Not only them, even these ocean overlords instantly opened their mouths wide, cursing in their hearts. What? They looked at Shiyu in shock. A general of the Dragon Palace City was a position that basically only a top overlord like the sky-penetrating whale could sit steadily in. Its status was only below the Totem Dragon King. Although the Dragon Palace City had always been friendly with the humans, it had never let humans take on such an important role. This? Countless sea beasts looked at the calm and extraordinary Shiyu on the ice dragon's shoulder in shock. They were shocked. They didn't understand who the person in front of them was to actually obtain such high recognition from the 4 Dragon Kings. Instead, the little white dragon, who had been beaten up, looked at Shiyu with admiration. As expected of Senior Shiyu. Hello, everyone. I'm Shiyu. At this moment, the importance of Shiyu's telepathy appeared again. He narrowed his eyes and looked at the countless ocean bosses. Below, Ice Dragon had a displeased expression. This damn little brat had grabbed onto the name of the blue sea sprite. Its status in Dragon Palace City was actually almost catching up to it immediately. However, when it thought of how Shiyu was under it and worked for it with the blue sea sprite to help it earn results, Ice Dragon endured it. Although Shiyu was the head of the Ministry of Environmental Protection, the boss of this department was still the Ice Dragon King. It hoped that when the time came, Shiyu could let it be a comfortable queen who freeloaded. Lord Shiyu. Soon, sounds that shattered the values of Heavenly King Zhu, Yu Shu, Yin Jingfan, and the others came from the entire Dragon Yang Island. F***CK? Yushu's eyes almost exploded. He couldn't understand. What exactly was going on? It was one thing for Shiyu to seduce the Ice Dragon, but why did he also obtain the recognition of the other 3 Dragon Kings at the same time and become a general of some Dragon Palace city? What was going on? Is this scientific? Fan Yu exclaimed. According to his understanding, there were also many humans who had a good relationship with the Dragon Palace totem. Why was Shiyu addressed so respectfully by some overlords? Then what were they, this group of people who were kneeling to the overlords and begging the other party to entrust their heirs to them? The little Yin Jingfan was a little regretful that he had come to Dragon Palace City this time. He was not very old, but he had endured pressure that he shouldn't have. His gaze was blank. Not to mention President Jiao Xian, could even the big shots of the 4th Bureau receive such treatment from Dragon Palace City? No, that was impossible. He looked at the tyrannical sea legend in confusion. This was, how did he do it? At this moment, tyrannical sea legend sighed and said, "If you don't mind, I suggest you join the environmental department of Dragon Palace City. It will be beneficial to your future development." According to his speculation, at that time, there should be no lack of heirs of the overlords of Dragon Palace City's Environmental Protection Department. The pavilion closest to the water enjoyed the moonlight first, as the saying went. If they couldn't contract an overlord's son, they would have more chances in the future if they joined the Environmental Protection Department. Heavenly King Zhu and the others are? Damn! Therefore, what exactly was going on? Coming to Dragon Palace City to participate in the banquet and becoming Shiyu's subordinate. This plot was something they couldn't understand. This didn't make sense. Chapter 297, 7 Invincible Environmental Badge. Chapter 297 Invincible Environmental Badge. After Prime Minister Turtle introduced Ice Dragon and Shiyu, the various overlords and monarchs were a little silent. This was really explosive news. They didn't know what changes the addition of Ice Dragon and Shiyu would bring to Dragon Palace City. Then, the Dragon Palace banquet will begin now. I hope everyone can spend a happy time at this banquet, Tilda. The Turtle Minister said in mid-air. Next, the banquet will be freely carried out by everyone. 211. With that, the Turtle Prime Minister landed. The entire Dragon Yang Island became noisy again. The segment of the Dragon Palace banquet was very simple. Many sea beast overlords and sea beast monarchs could do anything they wanted, such as showing off their children to each other. Apart from eating, drinking, and chatting with each other, the most lively project should be to show off their descendants. Usually, in this segment, the corresponding ocean overlord elders would take out a rare resource as a gimmick. For example, whoever defeated its child could obtain the resources. Of course, there was even a situation of spouse finding in the Dragon Palace banquet, and it was even a large-scale marriage venue. Apart from that, some small factions could also offer treasures to the Sea Dragon King or a certain overlord faction. As long as it was within the imagination, they were allowed to do it at the Dragon Palace banquet. The Sea Dragon King also wouldn't interfere and only silently supervised from above. With the Sea Dragon King watching, no matter how many sea beasts there were, the Dragon Palace banquet could maintain order. For countless years, everyone had already formed a tacit rule. No matter what, you have to obtain the holy bee bestowed by the holy healing immortal shell, do you hear me? Somewhere, a shell-type monarch said to a child who had surpassed him. But I don't want to learn medicine. Learning medicine won't revive Dragon Palace City. The White Star Shell, who had just stepped into the monarch domain and had an extraordinary aura, said. Do you listen to you or me? At every Dragon Palace banquet, Dr. Shell would give a fixed holy bead to the sea beasts to compete. This holy bead could allow a certain transcendent healing skill of the Shell-type Biology Association to be learned. After learning it, one could also join Dr. Shell's medical team and receive its teaching. It was a resource that many Shell races coveted. I heard that the Mermaid Queen has the intention to betroth the Mermaid Princess in her stomach. Whether you can pass the test and find a rich woman to bring honor to your ancestors depends on you. A group of ugly and ferocious monarch sea beasts said to their babies. We have to compete for the purple crystal origin water. You have to obtain quasi-mythical dragon blood and strengthen our bloodline. After so long, the resources that any Overlord faction took out were already very fixed. Many sea beasts specially came for the rewards of a certain faction, and it was fine even if they joined them. Of course, this was for those monarch powers. For these Overlord powers, the most important thing was definitely to display the power of their own factions and display the outstanding talents of the younger generation. However, this time, none of the Overlord powers took the lead to stand out. There was no other reason. This time, after the Ice Dragon King became the greatest guest of this banquet, they definitely had to see if the Ice Dragon King had anything to say. Everyone looked over and saw Shiyu floating slowly on the Ice Dragon. Soon, he floated in the air and replaced the position of the Turtle Prime Minister, becoming the focus of many sea beasts. This time, let me start. Shiyu welcomed the tens of thousands of gazes and said without any fear. Since he was recruiting new students, he naturally had to be early. Otherwise, all the outstanding talent should have been snatched away. The initial construction of the Dragon Palace Environmental Protection Department. At the moment, apart from me, a lone commander, there's still a lack of capable, determined, and responsible members. I want to use this occasion to recruit some members for the Environmental Protection Department. As Shiyu finished speaking, the crowd was in an uproar. In fact, up until now, many sea overlords were still confused about this Environmental Protection Department. Now, they wanted to see what Shiyu said. However, Shiyu didn't seem to have the intention of introducing the Marine Environmental Protection Department in detail. Instead, he directly said, the Sea Environmental Protection Department isn't as complicated as everyone thinks. The core is to cleanse the ocean and maintain its original color. It's mainly targeted at monsters that release radiation toxins and pollute the ocean like the poison dragon totem. Therefore, the recruitment conditions of the Marine Environmental Protection Department hope that you have the cleansing ability. If not, it's alright. If you have enough battle potential, you can also join the Marine Environmental Protection Department. The department will even tailor a cleansing ability for you. Countless sea beasts looked at Shiyu. At this moment, they weren't concerned about this, but about the benefits of the Environmental Protection Department. Even the most basic ocean army in Dragon Palace City had a clear promotion channel. The battle merits reward could allow them to see a beautiful future. If the Environmental Protection Department didn't have enough benefits, it would probably be difficult to attract some sea beasts to join. Although Shiyu's appearance was very mysterious and might have a big secret, not many sea beasts were willing to take a gamble against a baffling organization. Shiyu is serious, Heavenly King Zhu and the others looked at each other. Good heavens, the Dragon Palace banquet was openly forming cliques. Of course, there are also certain benefits to joining the Marine Environmental Protection Department. For example, every member of the Environmental Protection Department can obtain an Environmental Protection Badge. This badge is a symbol of their identity as a member of the Environmental Protection Department. With that said, Shiyu took out a blue circular badge that looked like a flattened slime. As Shiyu took out the badge, many sea beasts were stunned. However, before they could be puzzled for too long, Shiyu immediately explained. Everyone, you might be curious about what use this badge has other than representing the identity of a member of the Ministry of Environment. Next, I'll show you. Shiyu gently pressed the badge. In the next moment, shocking cold air spewed out. Roar! A terrifying dragon roar instantly sounded, causing many sea beasts to be momentarily stunned. Even the Overlord sea beasts were no exception. After being in a daze for a moment, they were directly stunned by the dragon might and were suppressed by the bloodline. At the same time, snow condensed, and a terrifying ice dragon phantom was born beside Shiyu. This ice dragon phantom was huge, its body seemed to be made of ice rocks. The color was ice blue and dark purple, representing extreme cold. It was surprisingly identical to the Ice Dragon King beside him. Apart from its size, there was almost no difference. Many sea beasts looked at the smaller Ice Dragon Phantom and the Frost Dragon Totem lying in the dragon nest. After comparing them, they opened their mouths slightly. This badge is wrapped in Lord Ice Dragon King's Dragon Might. Most importantly, through this badge, the user can summon Senior Ice Dragon's Phantom 3 times through it. Lord Ice Dragon King's Phantom also grasps a super time skill, Heavenly Frost Cold Energy. This skill came from Emperor Shi. Whether you want to use the badge to come into contact with learning time skills, or to use the badge to protect yourself and deter the enemy, or to feel the deterrence of Lord Ice Dragon King at a close distance, you can do it with this badge. Shi Yu narrowed his eyes and said, "I forgot to say. Senior Ice Dragon relied on the Heavenly Frost Cold Energy skill that can freeze time to have a lifespan that exceeds its own race. If you're on the verge of serious injuries or encounter any special circumstances, you can summon the Ice Dragon Phantom and use the Heavenly Frost Cold Energy to freeze and seal your injuries. At this moment, time would almost stop. You have plenty of time to wait for treatment." The poison dragon totem and the sea area contaminated by it were frozen by Lord Ice Dragon King with this skill. In addition, the user can also freeze themselves with the environmental badge and enter an ice sleep state. In this state, your life activity will be completely frozen, and the time on your body will stop. Even if 10 years have passed in the outside world, when you wake up again, you will still look the same. To a certain extent, it's a tool that can indirectly extend one's lifespan. From now on, every member who joins the Ministry of Environment will receive such a badge. When Shi Yu finished speaking, countless water element sea beasts were shocked. Holy shit, a badge that could summon the Lord Ice Dragon King's Phantom 3 times? It even had a super time skill, Heavenly Frost Cold Energy? What kind of equipment was this? It could even preserve a time element super skill. How exactly did he do it? TCH Ice Dragon curled its lips on the dragon nest. This kid, Shi Yu, let that worm run into its dream for a long time when it was sleeping. After coming out, that worm could even simulate the Heavenly Frost Cold Energy. This was ridiculous. Although it only had an entry-level effect and its power had been super castrated, it was still Heavenly Frost Cold Energy after all. It was tailor-made for it by Emperor Shi. That butterfly's dream stealing skill was so abnormal. Even Ice Dragon couldn't help but think. At this moment, under the cooperation of Shi Yu and the Ice Dragon, the Environmental Protection Department badge with the Ice Dragon Phantom as a guardian spirit wrapped in the deterrence of a totem-level Ice Dragon was the most basic equipment for the members of the Environmental Protection Department. This equipment's value could be high or low. From the level and time limit, its shelf life wasn't long. It was mass-produced, but from the power contained inside, it was extraordinary. At this moment, even some Overlord-level sea beasts were very envious. After all, ice and water were not separated. As long as it was a water element creature, it could basically learn ice element skills. In the face of a skill like the Heavenly Frost Cold Energy, who didn't want to give it a try? Although there was a high chance of learning it, every living being had the mentality of a gambler. Most importantly, it was too easy to obtain such an emblem just by joining the Environmental Protection Department. Some overlords even wanted to register in the Ministry of Environment and take it back to study. Just imagine, if they encountered any special circumstances, such as an incurable injury or a poison that couldn't be cleansed, they could completely rely on the Environmental Protection Badge to protect their life and wait for the cure and the cleansing method to appear. During the Wu Emperor dynasty, if Emperor Wu could contract a totem that mastered the power of time, he might be able to extend his life for a long time. This was the power of the Heavenly Frost Cold Energy. All processes on life forms could be stopped by time. This was the power of Buggy's skill in Dao Proficiency Dream Steel. As long as it was given enough time, it could even simulate the other party's super racial skill. The value of equipment forged with rare super skills was naturally needless to say. Most importantly, it was unique, and it was very difficult to replicate. This? I want it. In the human area, Yushu was also extremely envious, his eyes filled with blood vessels. Damn it, he had long been hungry for Shi Yu's ability to summon the Ice Dragon Phantom. Now, Shi Yu could actually create illusions and give them away? Was it that ridiculous? Can this resist aging? The blue-haired girl was also envious. Probably, Xia Qingwei was silent. Whitebrook curled her lips. Wasn't it amazing enough to use the time fruit to become a lowly? Shiyu still had something better. She didn't know if Shiyu would take it out later. In her opinion, that was much more useful than the heavenly frost cold energy. Seeing this badge, the tyrannical sea legend also narrowed its eyes and nodded. The value of the heavenly frost cold energy was not inferior to his giant Leviathan's infinite devour. They were both top super skills. Using this equipment as a temptation was indeed enough. Roar! Roar! This equipment was expensive because it was rare. It involved the protection of the Ice Dragon King's Dragon Might and the dual element heavenly frost cold energy. Many sea beasts became restless. If they were given this just by joining the Environmental Protection Department, then joining didn't seem to be a loss. Chapter 298, Shocking Dragon Palace City. Chapter 298, Shocking Dragon Palace City. After Shiyu displayed the Environmental Protection Badge containing the Ice Dragon Phantom, many sea beasts became restless. You, go and register and try. Among the dozens of ocean overlords, the Ice Emperor Lobster Overlord, who was famous for its ice element power, said to its cub. It actually didn't want its heirs to follow humans, but if it was the internal department of Dragon Palace City, it didn't matter. Most importantly, the Frost Dragon was the only totem in Dragon Palace City that was proficient in ice power. The Ice Emperor Lobster Overlord was suddenly a little tempted. It felt that following this old senior might give him more benefits. From the first totem battle to now, Ice Dragon was clearly a super big boss. In the face of its parents, this monarch-level Ice Emperor Lobster that had already grown up was confused. Wait a minute. Giving such a precious piece of equipment after joining was definitely not that simple. It wasn't too late to go after Lord Shiyu made himself clear. Similar scenes were playing out elsewhere. Go and try, many Overlord-level sea beasts said to their heirs or clansmen. Some monarch-level sea beasts even muttered to themselves, wanting to join the Ministry of Environment. After all, Shiyu's Environmental Protection Department didn't specify any levels, race, or age. I wonder if I have any hope. Lord Shiyu, I wonder if there are any specific conditions for me to join the Environmental Protection Department. I want to join. Lord Shiyu, look at me. In an instant, thousands of sea beasts shouted. Just now, many sea beasts still had a wait-and-see attitude towards the Marine Environmental Protection Department, but in the blink of an eye, the Environmental Protection Department became popular. After all, who could withstand a group giving away super resources upon entry? It was freeloading. Holy shit, will he really get a bunch of sea beast followers? Seeing the Dragon Palace banquet become a large-scale recruitment venue, Yushu cried in envy. Wouldn't Shiyu be able to do whatever he wanted in the East Sea in the future? How envious! The other young people also looked envious. They wanted to do this too. Everyone, don't worry. I'm not done. At this moment, facing the enthusiastic sea beasts, Shiyu said calmly, please let me finish. This Environmental Protection Badge is actually the most basic welfare treatment for the members of the Ministry of Environment. We also prepared another precious resource for the core members of the Ministry of Environment. Eh? When Shiyu finished speaking, the sea beasts were stunned. There was more? Legend Sea Tyrant and Sea Dragon King were also slightly stunned. There was more? In their opinion, this environmental badge was already a huge investment. After all, it was a high-quality equipment that could store time skills. In the end, Shiyu even prepared something more expensive? Looks like this kid plans to use this event to rope in enough power. The Sea Dragon King narrowed its eyes and quietly looked at what Shiyu was preparing to take out. This resource is also a resource related to time. Shiyu's expression was calm. He put away the Ice Dragon badge and the Ice Dragon disappeared with the snow. In the next moment, he took out a white fruit. At this moment, when they saw the white fruit in Shiyu's hand that looked like a pineapple, many sea beasts revealed confused expressions. Not to mention them, even the Sea Dragon King turned his head and didn't know what it was. Something to do with the time element? What's this? The little white dragon asked the Turtle Prime Minister in a low voice. The Turtle Prime Minister shook its head. With its experience after living for so long, it actually didn't know. At that moment, when they saw that Shiyu had indeed taken this out, Ice Dragon, Gem Cat, and the other big shots narrowed their eyes and silently watched the show. Next, they wanted to see how destructive this thing was. They just didn't know how Shiyu planned to show it. Did you just say that you want to join the Environmental Protection Department? After Shiyu took out the time fruit, under the gaze of many sea beasts, he didn't explain anything to everyone immediately. Instead, he looked at a faction. That was the faction of the Mermaid Queen. Apart from the Overlord-level Mermaid Queen, there was also a pile of mermaids and a pile of pink eel-like creatures. Name: Cherry Heartfish. Attributes: Water. Race level: High-level Commander. Level of growth: Commander level. Introduction: It's a beautiful fish from the deep sea, one of the prerequisites of mermaids. There's a chance to evolve into a humanoid creature, mermaid. The cherry heartfish looked like a pink eel-shaped creature with a beautiful and elegant appearance. Its body was surrounded by pink silk-like fins, and it was already somewhat similar to a mermaid. Before they evolved into mermaids, they were already the most beautiful fish species in the deep sea. Of course, the most beautiful was definitely a mermaid. That appearance could even tempt other species. Fufu? In the mermaid faction, the cherry heartfish, who was named by Shiyu, had a nervous and surprised expression. It didn't expect Shiyu to suddenly look at it and talk to it. It loved cleanliness, so it indeed felt that the Marine Environmental Protection Department was a good department and wanted to join. Shiyu was right about this. General Shiyu, what's wrong with that? The noble and elegant Mermaid Queen, whose upper body was in a humanoid form and had a beautiful appearance even among humans, asked Shiyu. Your Majesty, I wonder if you can invite it to do an experiment with me. Shiyu smiled. The Mermaid Queen glanced at the extremely ordinary Sakura Heartfish in the group and said, of course. Go. Chapter 299, Shocking Dragon Palace City, 1. Chapter 299, Shocking Dragon Palace City, 1. With that said, it nodded and said to the Sakura Heartfish. A moment later, the Sakura Heartfish swam to Shiyu nervously. At this moment, countless sea beasts were puzzled. Why did Shiyu suddenly call a cherry heartfish over? This cherry heartfish should be a relatively ordinary member of Mermaid Island. After all, if it was a mermaid royal, it would be born in a mermaid state. Only the commoners of the mermaid race would be born in other races, such as the cherry heartfish. However, since it could accompany the Mermaid Queen to such a place, it meant that this Sakura Heartfish's talent was pretty good. Perhaps it could evolve into a mermaid in the future. This involved an evolution type. Skill of the Sakura Heartfish. However, this evolution type skill was definitely not easy to train. Some Sakura Heartfish exceeded the racial limit and reached the monarch level, but they might not necessarily be able to train their evolution skills to the level where they could evolve. Hello. After the cherry heartfish came over, Shiyu smiled. It was very simple why he chose this cherry heartfish. It was because under his gaze, he realized that this small and low-level cherry heartfish's willpower was actually very good. It had reached the middle stage, comparable to 11. After all, the will stage of the little white dragon and the other overlord heirs was only extremely low. It was obvious how determined its heart was under its soft and beautiful appearance. A high-level overlord's will could assist in breaking through to the overlord level. It had a medium-level will, so it was completely fine to say that it had the potential of a monarch. It would definitely evolve into a mermaid in the future. Fufu. Lord Shiyu, Yin Xinyu greeted. Prime Minister Turtle, can you help me? After the Sakura Heartfish came up, Shiyu called for the Turtle Prime Minister below. Words were useless. He wanted to use experiments to show the power of the time fruit to the sea beasts in Dragon Palace City. Only by showing them the true effect of the time fruit could they join the Ministry of Environmental Protection wholeheartedly. Now that there were experimental subjects in the growth stage, Shiyu called the old Turtle Prime Minister. Me? Below, the standing Turtle Prime Minister was stunned. It was indeed very old. Ordinary longevity turtles had white stripes on their bodies, but the stripes on its body had already turned black. Its originally white abdomen was already a little yellow. Apart from that, its brown tortoise shell also had countless years' marks, let alone its wrinkled and old face. WN. Of course, with the race of the 10,000-year tortoise, even if it looked old, it could still live for a long time. All right. The turtle minister flew up in confusion and stood beside Shiyu with the Sakura heartfish. This fruit is the resource I prepared for the core members of the Environmental Protection Department. Its effect might be more intuitive for everyone to see with their own eyes. With that said, Shiyu took out another time fruit and handed the 2 fruits to the Sakura heartfish and the turtle minister. Fufu. Ah. When the Sakura heartfish and the turtle prime minister saw that Shiyu meant for them to eat this mysterious fruit, they were immediately shocked. The turtle minister was still all right, but the Sakura heartfish's entire body instantly burned. It didn't understand why it could directly obtain the reward that only core members of the Environmental Protection Department could obtain. No problem. Shiyu handed it over. Soon, as the time fruit was handed to Prime Minister Turtle and the Sakura heartfish, a new round of discussion immediately arose. Let the turtle Prime Minister and that cherry heartfish eat it? What exactly is the effect of this fruit? Why does he have to experiment with the turtle prime minister and a cherry heartfish? The sea beasts discussed. Click. At the same time, the turtle minister and the cherry heartfish also ate the time fruit according to Shiyu's request. Each of these time fruits was created by the ginseng baby that exceeded its limit. The limit of a day was 1 fruit, so the effect was very good. It could even take effect on monarchs. It might not be accurate to describe it with the time fruit, because it was a combination skill of max-level nutrition and max-level time fruit. Shiyu named it Miracle Fruit. Because in a sense, this fruit could indeed bring about a miracle. What's this? In the human area, Heavenly King Zhu was still at a loss. At the moment, all the audience's moods were also different. Some had already made some guesses, while others were still in a daze. In any case, it's a very exaggerated thing, Whitebrook said beside him. For example, it can instantly make little Fan beside us become filled with philosophy. Yin Yang Fan? As soon as she finished speaking, Legend Sea Tyrant narrowed his eyes. The Sea Dragon King also focused all his attention. At this moment, it had been a while since the Turtle Prime Minister and the Sakura Heartfish had eaten the miracle fruit. Under everyone's gaze, they didn't change much, but as time passed, something unexpected happened. After eating the miracle fruit, the Turtle Prime Minister and the Cherry Heartfish widened their eyes almost instantly. They sensed a magical power awakening the hidden potential in their bodies. This? Fufu tilde tilde? As the Turtle Prime Minister and the Cherry Heartfish exclaimed in surprise, dazzling power of time instantly spread from their bodies, turning into a dazzling star. At that moment, as time waves emitted from their bodies, their auras began to increase steadily. The sea beasts observing immediately perked up. In the next moment, the Sakura Heartfish was the first to change. The power of time on its body instantly transformed into the power of evolution. Chapter 300, Shocking Dragon Palace City, 2. Chapter 300 Shocking Dragon Palace City, 2. Under the white evolution light, its 1-meter-long body quickly changed and grew rapidly. In the light, it didn't take long for its body to reach more than 4 meters. In the white light, the form of the body gradually changed from the Cherry Heartfish to another form. Seeing this scene, the Mermaid Queen, the mermaids, and the Sakura Heartfish behind were first stunned before shaking their heads suddenly. How was this possible? However, the real scene in front of them made the mouths of the Overlord factions and Monarch factions, including the Mermaid factions, widen. The venue instantly fell silent. Under the shocked gazes of all the sea beasts, as well as Yushu and the others, the commander-level Cherry Heartfish just now suddenly erupted with a Monarch-level deterrence under the white light and shattered the white light on its body. At the same time, its new appearance also appeared in front of the many sea beasts. It had a huge body, elegant pink long curly hair, watery blue eyes, beautiful appearance, a plump upper body, and a deep pink fish tail. Its entire body displayed the deterrence of a monarch. Countless shining water beads lingered around its body, and its beautiful eyes were filled with a pitiful confusion. Seeing this beautiful creature, countless sea beasts widened their eyes again. Heavenly King Zhu, Yu Shu, and the others rubbed their eyes hard in disbelief. Just now, it was just a commander-level cherry heartfish. After eating the fruit, it directly evolved? Moreover, it had reached the monarch level? How was this possible? Roar! What shocked them even more was still coming. At this moment, in mid-air, the turtle minister also revealed its figure under the white light. After the light collapsed, the excited and energetic roar of the turtle minister came. Originally less than 2 meters away, its body had already withered and looked like a little old man. At this moment, its body directly doubled. Its huge and bright brown shell, clear patterns, white spots that represented vitality on its body, thick limbs that seemed to be filled with muscles, and in addition to its ferocious and wild face and bright red pupils, none of them didn't indicate the current situation of the turtle prime minister's body. "I'm young again," the turtle minister said in disbelief in the sky. At this moment, its entire body emitted a deterrence wave stronger than the mermaid beside it. The substantial deterrence instantly made countless streams submit and linger around it. At this moment, the turtle minister was teary-eyed. It controlled its young body in disbelief. Now, let alone the turtle prime minister and the group of sea beasts, even the sea dragon king opened its mouth wide. After all, ever since it came to Dragon Palace City, the turtle minister had already looked so old, but now, seeing that the turtle prime minister had instantly recovered even younger and more energetic than him, as if it had returned to the strongest moment of his life, the sea dragon king immediately roared in confusion. "Holy shit! Prime Minister Turtle!" Below, the little white dragon's eyes widened when it saw the change in Prime Minister Turtle. At this moment, countless sea beasts looked at the changes in the turtle prime minister and the cherry heart fish, and their brains suddenly felt a little uncomfortable. In mid-air, Shiyu looked around and looked at his masterpiece in satisfaction. Then, he looked at the countless sea beasts with a smile and took out a time fruit. He explained, "As everyone can see, this fruit contains powerful time power. This time power can temporarily allow a life form in the growth stage to reach a stronger state in the future. It can also allow an old life form to recover to the peak state in its life. It can lead you to the future and control the power of the future. It can also let you return to your youth and awaken the power of the past. This fruit is called the time fruit, also known as the miracle fruit. It's a fruit that can bring miracles." After Shiyu finished speaking, countless sea beasts and even the sea dragon king revealed shocked expressions. There was actually such a thing? It must be fake. I won't say much about its various hidden effects. I'll only say 2 that are easier to think of. For example, it can unearth potential and let you experience the form you might evolve into in advance, allowing you to find the path of evolution. As soon as he finished speaking, countless sea beasts with evolution potential looked at the beautiful mermaid with reddened eyes and yearning. For example, it can also allow you to return to your youth and make up for some regrets. Cough, like some seniors who didn't want children when they were young and missed the optimal stage of reproduction. The time fruit might be able to help you fulfill your dreams. As soon as he finished speaking, it wasn't just the dragon babies this time. Even some overlord-level creatures' pupils instantly constricted as they realized a possibility. In an instant, the atmosphere of the Dragon Palace banquet became extremely hot. Scorching gazes looked at Shiyu, the mermaid, and the turtle minister. What kind of monstrous resource was this? How could there be such a heaven-defying fruit? Forget about some young sea beasts, even the overlord sea beasts wanted to immediately join the Environmental Protection Department and become core members. Compared to this, the badge just now was nothing. The hardest thing about overlord-level creatures was reproduction. Even if they successfully gave birth, it would only be one child. Asher Yu said, this time fruit even represented the possibility of a second or third child.